What's going on, Gary?
I'm over here drumming and you was playing the guitars.
I got the guitar going. You got the drums? Got that intro music coming in. You hear me loud and clear? How you doing?
Man, I'm good. We are on time, 7 o'clock.
Where's Troy at? He can't call us out tonight. We're on time. Hey, twice in 1 week. Twice in 1 week, Gary. Wednesday and Saturday. Twice in one week.
Isn't that weird? It's weird, isn't it?
Yeah. Look who's here. Jim Lauer's here.
Jim Lauer is first.
That's right.
Jim Lauer's watching. He says, "Hi, guys." Yeah, we just did this a few days ago, didn't we?
Yeah. Man, we got a lot of good comments off that last show, too. A lot of little special, nice little, messages saying what a great show that was, and people giving us texts and shouting out. That's pretty cool. It was a great show, actually.
Yeah, it really was. Yeah,
no doubt, man. I'm super excited about show number 78. Ken Watson. We're going to talk about Fabstar Perfomance Fabrication and the Brawl True Street Race.
Yes.
I'm excited about that.
He's going to give us the scoop on the Wheatland Brawl True Street event coming up at the end of May 31st.
Mark your calendars. We'll talk about here in a minute. What's Jim Robertson saying about time you were on? What?
There's Ryan Sumner. What's up, fellas?
What's up, Mr. Ryan?
Jim, what are you talking about? About time you were on? What are you talking about? Come on.
We're not the Sunday boys this week. You know what I mean?
Well, we're Saturday Night Live.
Yeah, Easter tomorrow, so we thought we'd come over a day early. Of course, we had to do Wednesday to make up for Centerville. That was a great show. We already had next week's ready. We already had the week after that ready. I mean, we're ready. We are ready.
Jim is east of us a little bit, so he probably thinks the time hits a little sooner over there. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, yeah. In Topeka land, he's over there at the state capitol. He's making it happen.
I know. Oh, Jim, are you guys coming to MAD in a couple weeks?
I hope so. I saw a spy photo. Wasn't you on that spy photo as well?
Yes.
We had some people with some rubber gloves on putting in work.
We're gonna unspy it too, and we got questions. We got questions, don't we?
Yeah. If we got questions, they got answers, right?
Well, we'll see. There's Chris Padgett. Chris is from up there over there where Ken is from.
He's on the freaking flyer, is he not? He's
on the flyer.
This deal.
Yep.
Yeah.
Him and his grocery getter.
Not surprised.
Russell Foreman, what are you doing?
I got Russell on the list to contact. I got him on the list there, Gary. We're going to see if the soldiers made it in. Make sure he makes it in a couple of weeks here.
You got to check on his battalion, right?
That's right. The generals.
General. Yeah. General Foreman.
Yeah, that's right.
You have the heater or the air conditioner on today?
Heater in the morning, and then just kind of, nothing. You know what I mean? I got the chill out of the air, and it just seemed like a little bit of a winter day, if you will. You know what I mean? Rain. Rain at your place much?
It rained a little bit, like a light rain. And I heard a real heavy rain for a little bit, but it only lasted about a minute. Mm-hmm. But it has been raining off and on, I think, the majority of the day.
Yeah. The
crazy.
Oh yeah, the fertilizer and the seed is loving this little nice little calm, wetness to you. What's Jim Robertson saying? Someone didn't get a kitchen pass. What are we doing here?
And Jim says not gonna make it to MAD. Tim's out of town for work. Boo.
You got to do the out of town deals in the winter.
Boo.
Yeah.
There's Larry Hunt. What's up, boys? Hello, Mr. Larry.
What's up, Larry?
Russell Foreman says, I've got 2 new regiments of soldiers. They have hit the ground. Hopefully we'll have a motor together and ready for MAD.
Boom. Boom. I saw that, and I saw Big Red's irking around the corner too, from a little post there. Talked about that in a little bit.
Yep. There's Barry Peter. Hey, guys. Barry, are you going to have your little white pickup truck ready for MAD in a couple weeks?
Hope so.
I think that's a 580 ride, if I remember right.
You're right. We got a class for that.
I think so. Yeah.
Fill the lanes. Fill the lanes. Here we go.
Yep, that's right. Larry says, last I heard, Russell's soldiers were all carrying bazookas.
Oh, man. They got the big guns out, huh?
Man.
Yeah. 9:59. Here we go.
Bazookas. Jim, he says, you all coming to Streetcar Takeover? Tell him, Rod.
That's the plan. We'll be there. Flying H, May 9th and 10th, staying at Oak Grove, Holiday Inn. So we're going to race in the Outlaw class, unless I've been seeing a little chatter about them having a chip draw class around the 450, 480 session. I don't know if that's going to be for the Flying H, but if they do, that's what I'm going to race. And yes, sir, we're heading to a Waffle House near us, right down the street.
What else is in Oak Grove?
That's right. The chef's in the room. You can see it right here. The chef is in the room. Yeah.
Waffle House. Yep.
That's the plan. So we'll be back-to-back weekends. Yeah, come on out there.
Yeah, Barry says he hopes to come out. So
hope
to see you, Barry.
Yeah. Now the track
we talking about the rain and the weather and stuff, and the grass. The luxury lawn and yard peoples was at my house this week, giving my grass some tasty vittles.
Nice.
So now we got some tasty rain.
Oh yeah.
Man. Yeah. Oh yeah, it's gonna be good. Yep.
Yeah. No, that's good.
And you know what I did yesterday? I had to work on the dang lawnmower.
That's what I heard.
I had to work on Tiffany's lawnmower. It needed a new drive belt.
I cannot believe she was running around with a lawnmower malfunctioning.
It was malfunctioning, and I don't know how long she would have went before saying something, but I had to use it last week because I had to mow for her. And coming up the yard where it needed the drive wheels to pull itself up, it'd go straight a little bit, and then it'd pull right. It'd straighten it out, and it'd pull right. And I was like, something's not right with these drive wheels. And
it had some rear steer in it.
It had some major rear steer, and it made me look pretty bad. I'm not a great lawn mower, but it made me look really, really bad. So yeah, I had to kind of I took the belt off digging into it, and I set it off to the side, and I got looking at everything else. Everything else looked fine. I thought, well, maybe the gearbox is bad, then I finally grabbed the belt. It had a bunch of cracks, and I thought, well, hopefully this thing's just stretched out. So went down and got a new belt and put her together, and it seems to be good. I didn't go in the yard with it, but I went up the driveway with it. It pulled straight up the driveway. The rear steer is gone. It's not heading for the walls.
Right.
So, yeah, I think I fixed it.
I thought you were getting ready to tell me were trying to get out of work. You didn't want to do that job anymore. And so
well, she was only out for a week. So
that's not bad. That's not
bad.
Yeah.
I knew I had to get it fixed because the grass needs mowed.
Yes, the grass needs mowed.
So we need a lawnmower.
Nice. Yeah. Well, I'm glad you got her tuned up.
Yep, it's good. Yeah, Barry says Oak Grove MPE. That's Mashmeyer Performance Engines. Todd Mashmeyer.
Nice.
Yep, Oak Grove. Larry Hunt says Mad Snow Cones take you back to your childhood and enjoy with a smile.
Yep, that'll work. Cool.
Yep, it's been a good weekend.
Did you get to after you're working on that mower? Did you get any time to work on the big red back there?
I did. I got the today. I got it. I threw it up in the air with the jacks here. I got the transmission out, the mid plate off, took the drive shaft out. I did discover that I love the Pro Jacks, but up in the air like this, my floor jack don't go high enough without a 2x4.
Oh man.
It won't reach the transmission. So
dang it.
Yeah. You know, and I was going to buy you see right there is a small Harbor Freight jack that goes in the trailer. It's going to go in the trailer.
Sure.
And I was going to buy the Nick size bigger, the aluminum one.
Yeah.
But I don't know I doubt if it'll go high enough either.
I don't know. You have to measure that out and see what stroke it's got.
So maybe I'll have to make a little platform that goes on top of it that will reach the transmission or something. So we'll see. I'll figure it out, but it was not a big deal. I got through it. I was like, man, but it does. When the transmission's on the ground, I slide it right out. When it's on jack stands like I used to do it, I used to have to tip the back end up, get the top of the bell housing underneath the car, and then not a big deal, but Yeah.
Oh, that's good. Cool.
Not a big deal. I got through it. So yeah.
So it's
I
out,
got
plates out, and
yep. I did a
the
little
final
trim.
touches before it goes to Fox Rod Racing.
Yep. I got one more thing to do. I need to bake that bar that goes across there to support the cow. So that's next. I'm gonna work on that this week.
Okay.
So,
Cow support.
yeah. Support
Very
the cow.
cool. Yes. Very cool. Sounds like you're getting there. Sounds like you're close.
Yeah. I was gonna put it on my blocks, my 12-inch race ramp blocks. But I thought, when I get done with that deal, I'm gonna put it right back down the ground and shove it in the trailer. So
shove in the trailer
and haul it up north.
There you go. Let them know you're coming.
That's right.
Right on.
Let's give our partners a shout out real quick.
Let's do it.
Shout out to our great partners in 2025: Mid-America Dragway, Ultra Color Collision Repair, Mobile Recon, Mobile Detailing, Titans of 10.5, the fastest small tire series in the Midwest, Sandland Iron and Metal Auto Salvage, and Harry Street Carpet. Thank you to these awesome partners for hanging out with us in 2025.
Right on. Nice work. Nice work. Speaking of Sandland,
yes?
actually, I'll pause on that one. We'll just pause on that one.
Okay.
No, that's good. So what do you got in your little inbox today to kick off for us before we get Ken on here from Fabstar?
All right. Let's I'm going to show these shirts again because I haven't heard they're out, so I assume they still have them, and I'm still going to get my shirts in a couple weeks.
They got yours on hold, right?
Mine are on hold. Yep, a black and a gray.
Okay.
So I will see Mrs. Harper in a couple weeks when we go down there.
Right on.
And so if you think these are cool, don't wait to get them because they've got a limited supply. And I promise you're not going to get mine because you're not going to get mine. So you go down and get your own.
Get your own. When they buy them, they'll say, "Oh, these ain't Gary's, are they?"
Well, they better not sell Gary's.
2X, right?
Yes. Yep. Yep. So get you some cool T-shirts from Mid-America Dragway, and I'm going to get mine here in a couple weeks.
There you go. Cool. Looking good.
We saw Devin last week, and he gave us a little scoop on Mark Tido doing some work on old Red here. Yeah. And Mark made a post, I think it was yesterday, said the old girl is getting close to being done, a little behind schedule, but sometimes it happens. Pretty happy with how it turned out. He's got it sitting on some scales there.
Yeah.
So Devin probably said, give it the mad $3.99 scale setup.
With a 9.9, they're coming for blood.
That's right.
That's exactly right. Old Big Red, he's ready to get out, get some work done to it, and super happy to see this post. And if all the ducks line up there, they'll be at the Titans of 10.5 race at Madden in a couple of weeks. That's awesome.
Yep. Hopefully that works out. We got a comment here. What's this? Oh, there's Doug Perry. Doug says, "Hey guys, what's up?" Hello, Doug.
Heck yeah, a little Saturday night action.
Doug is hanging out. Heck yeah.
Yeah.
The Show Me Shoat crew on the Spare Chain Scarlet page. Wes Choate and crew says, well, look what showed up just in time for the Titans of 10.5 race at Mid-America. What do you see there, Rod?
I see some turbies.
Woo! Couple big boxes.
Big boxes there. Some boosties.
Yep.
Get those bad boys on. That's so cool. Heck yeah, man. That thing's just going to be at the front. I mean, those Shoats, they don't mess around. And that new engine, new combination, we'll see how it goes, man. It's going to be an exciting year.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. He's he'll be in the limited 8.5 class with you and Spaniak and the whole crew of killers in that limited 8.5 class. That's
going to be awesome.
They had another post here that says, this was today, I think. It's a live dyno day this week, and then to Ozark Raceway Park for testing. And Titans of 10.5 is in 2 weeks.
Man, he's got it lined up, man. Bam, bam, bam. He'll be ready. Heck yeah.
It's awesome. Scheduled out. He's going to be a hitter, man. He's going to be a hitter.
Oh, yeah. This guy's to the front. There's no doubt about it. He's going to be going for the championship. Nice car, nice setup, and they know what they're doing.
Yep, for sure. They put up a little video idling here. I snatched this video. Let's watch this.
Sounds like it's ready.
Yep. He's going to be testing soon, and he'll be ready.
Yeah, no, it's great. See, kind of watching this build go along, and of course, they're at Show Me Speed. Is that correct?
Yep, that's right.
He's, we saw him working on other customer cars and getting this all ready to go. So that's pretty awesome. I'm glad he's going to be there. It's good stuff.
Yep, and he highlighted P1 Manufacturing, Heinlein's Diesel and Machine, Mast Motorsports, AFCO Racing, Aeromotive Fuel Systems, DNJ Components, Smallwood Race Development, and Cam Motion for his partners that help him supply parts for this car.
Yeah, no, it's good stuff.
Yep, it's going to be cool.
Scarlet to the front.
How big? Do we know how big this engine is? Is it a 388 or a 400? Any?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
It's LS. That's it. That's all I know.
It don't matter as long as it wins.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
The Lovett camp, Andrew Lovett and his dad Chris from Wichita Dyno. Andrew made a post that we got the old engine and pumpkin up and going at the shop this week. Huge thanks to Advanced Engine Machine. We know them guys.
Oh yeah.
For the upgrades and knocking this thing out for us. Chris Lovett drove it out of the shop so it can get some sun. It will be getting a bath soon. Can't wait to see what it makes on some juice this time. So maybe we'll see it at MAD in
yeah, maybe so. Hopefully he can jump in a class 50 or whatever. I don't know how fast the car is.
Me neither. I'm not sure.
Yeah. So that's good. Get in where you fit in, and come on out.
Yep. They're big supporters at MAD, so hopefully we'll see them in a couple weeks.
Yep.
Tim Webb.
A car too that could probably run that True Street there, the Wheatland Brawl, I would assume.
Oh, right, maybe.
Yep.
Our buddy Tim Webb, he made a post. We keep talking about Eric Knott's awesome car that Tim built. They went to the dyno, I think last week-ish. And so Tim made a post. He said, this was a big project, but definitely one of the nicest I have had the pleasure to build and be a part of. Thanks, Eric Knott, for you and Samantha to trust me to be a part of this build. I rolled all the cage in this ride, and it changed me forever as the fit is second to none. He's talking about not just putting like traditional bins, but he's like, it makes a roller and it rolls the bins. The roof lines on these cars are different, and you can see it how it swoops back and so they'll take a roller and roll this tubing to match the body line, and it's really cool. Yeah, it's really nice stuff. Victor Contreras hit it on the head. Pictures don't do this car justice. Logan Metcalf and Jason Metcalf with Ultra Color did an amazing job as well on the body and paint. Thanks to you all involved, Jim Robinson and Wayne Walls, for all the help get this car to where it is. For the Knots to start to enjoy this amazing car. Victor Ewan Jr. killed it on this tune and drivability and teaching Eric the ropes. Coming to a track near you soon. Nice.
Heck yeah. Beautiful build. Lucky enough to see this car in person. Want to see it all done, at the track.
Yep.
That's going to be awesome.
Yeah, we seen it at Ultra Color.
Yep.
Super. It was like a show car. You know what I mean?
And it was in a roller state, just look at it, all completed in the pits, if you will. Watch it go down the track. That's just fantastic. It's a great build.
Yeah, Larry says it's going to be a killer car count at MAD.
Oh, yeah.
Bring them cars. Bring them out.
Bring them up.
And they had this car on the dyno,
Mm-hmm.
and we got a little video of that too, right here. Dang.
Gary, why does that car sound so good?
It's got 2 turbos.
No, that's not the answer. You know the answer. You're the one that said that to me.
SBF?
Uh-huh. Yeah, no, that's awesome. Congratulations, Eric, Tim, Metcalfs, everybody involved, Jim, Wayne. You guys are awesome, man. That's just good stuff.
Yeah, I can't wait to see that car. Hopefully we'll see it soon.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Jim's got a comment on that one.
Yeah, Jim says it's one of the nicest cars I have ever worked on in all my years of doing this.
Oh, yeah. They probably had double gloves on this one. You know what I mean? Just to
Yeah.
make sure they didn't scratch anything, and
I had a glove bodysuit on.
body full suit. Where
Full glove suit,
just
latex.
Yes, Doug Perry knows. Come on now.
Yep, small block Ford.
Right. That's good stuff.
Chris Paget says, if I have oil pressure, I'll be at Mad for Titans.
That's
Let's go,
what I'm
Chris.
talking about. Let's go.
Yep.
Let's go.
Yep. That so we're just gonna bring this up.
Okay.
And
what
is this?
Gloves, Gary, who do we get this picture from?
That came from Jim.
Is that Jim with rubber gloves on?
Well, I think that's Jim taking a picture of Tim.
Is that
just making a mess out of the oil pan rail there?
Yeah. Yeah. Is that a nice little, what is that, a PVC going together?
Yeah, it looks like an all aluminum piece. Pretty fancy.
Pretty fancy. Pretty nice.
Awesome. He's modeling some pretty gloves.
Yes, he is. He looks great. Yeah, that's a good sign there. I was hoping to see him in a couple of weeks until he said he'd be out of town. Jim, you guys going to come on over to Flying H if you can't make Mad? Hopefully. But yeah, Tim's ready to go. It's weird because I see the gloves and then I see the shoes. There's a piece in the middle. I can't see. It's all camoed out.
Yep, it's all camo. Can't see it.
Yeah.
Tim's keeping his hands clean. He must have had a date that night or something.
He might have. Was it date night? Go out to the restaurante?
Yep. Him and Sherry had a date.
Yeah.
Doug Perry says Rodney's car sounds killer too.
Oh, I appreciate that. Heck yeah. Heck yeah.
Yeah, Jason Golden, small block Ford for the win. Jason, you should come down to Mid-America Dragway for the Titans race.
There you go. You fit right in.
Think your car probably fits limited, has the right size turbos probably.
Curb skis.
What do you think?
Motor and come on.
And I promise you haven't been on a track as good as what Harper's going to put out there in a couple weeks.
Strap it down.
Yeah.
Strap it down.
You've been on a bunch of tracks. I just don't think you've been on one this good.
Yeah, there's a rumor, Gary, that there's going to be a record that's going to get broken.
Man.
What is said record? Is it a 16? Is it a 15?
A 13 or a 16?
Yeah.
Larry, help us out, Larry.
No, that's Harper's record.
Oh, yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's probably the same number, isn't it?
It's close.
Man, that's a good question.
Yeah, look at that. He's got 76s. He fit right in.
Oh, Jason, you're there, dude. You need to come to Arc City.
Yep.
You won't be disappointed unless you don't keep the front end down. That might be a problem. Doug says I wanted to come, but we'll be out of town. Well, you'll be out of town. You'll be out of town at Arc City. There you go.
That's right. You'll be out of town. That's exactly right. You just got to be in the right town.
Yes, the right town. Yeah.
That's funny. Well, cool. I was glad to see this picture of Tim, and I'm assuming this is for the Malibu. I don't know exactly, but get that back together. That car is just beautiful, and he can run with any of those guys. So hopefully he'll be at a track soon.
Yep. So maybe we'll see them the following weekend at Flying H.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Our local guy, Greg, family car. We talked about this car a few weeks back. He says he got some pictures from the Moore race chassis. It's finally on the ground. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. That looking good. Hopefully they get this, get us at home and start to do the wiring and that sort of thing. It looks like it needs some windows there. But yeah, I'm super excited to see this car out. It's just going to be a fan favorite there in the 4-door. And then isn't there a contest going on this one too, Gary? Something about some weight?
Yeah, there's a weight contest rolling around. So
is this weight with driver or without driver? I think we said without, right?
I think race ready without. We'll have to have Greg confirm.
I believe you're right there. I think it's race ready without.
It looks like it's missing a few pieces yet, but
it does. But he's good. Man, every day you get a little closer.
Yeah, it's definitely a unique hot rod for sure.
Yeah. Now this is one of two of the Billet Boy team, right?
It is. Greg and Troy,
Yeah.
them Billet Mopar boys.
Heck yeah, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, Jim says, yep, about
Flying 8.
Flying 8 streetcar takeover. Well, good. Jim, we're going to have to coordinate with you guys and get hooked up in parking like we did before.
Absolutely.
Yep. Here's another picture of Greg's car, a little further away. Shows a little different angle on it.
Mm-hmm. More race cars, right?
That's right. More race chassis, I think it is, over there in the east side of Missouri, a St. Louis suburb.
Yep. Good looking.
So do great work over there.
Yeah.
Got a bunch of talented young fellows over there.
Sure.
Yeah. Well, that's the end of, we had a weird short week. So
yeah,
we just had a small amount of stuff to roll through and that's it.
That's good. That's a good update, and a lot of stuff going on, and a lot of people working on their stuff, working on their builds, and man, the season started. I mean, it's race time, so this is awesome. I know a lot of people are finishing up and be out to a racetrack real soon, and hopefully the weather starts to cooperate a little bit.
Yep.
And we get some good weather coming our way, so I'm excited.
Yeah, and like we talked right before the show, like we went to Centerville last week, and the timing could have been perfect. They got rained out. Whatever was going on today, we was there last week. The weather was perfect. Yeah. So the timing was right. We got lucky. Yeah. And it's over there raining. So
yeah, knock on wood, we get a couple more of those types of atmosphere before we get into this, 90-degree heat, if you will. And so we'll just keep it rolling here. So, yeah.
Yep. We'll get a break in July. June at Mocan could be a little toasty.
Sure.
And for sure, August in Noble is definitely going to be on fire.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see how.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. As soon as that sun goes down, though, it usually is okay. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. It feels like the air conditioner turns on when the sun goes down. No, it's still 95 degrees, but it still feels good.
DA 5,000 feet, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the DA would be terrible till October.
Yeah. Well, very cool. Well, we got Ken Watson waiting in the background, right?
We got Ken waiting, ready to bring.
Yeah, we'll bring him in. On. Yeah, I've been waiting to talk to him for a little bit. We went to some dinners and got to visit with him about a year ago, and he runs that shop over in Hutchinson, and just does great work. So I'm excited. I see his work on Facebook. Plus, of course, we know a couple guys that have some cars over there. So, but yeah, I want to hear a little bit about what he's got going on.
All right, let's drag him in here. Ken, how you doing, buddy?
What's up, fellas?
What's going on? You see us okay? We got you loud and clear.
Yep, good. You guys hear me all right?
Hear you great.
Good
so
good.
Explain this title, Employee of the Month. What do you got going on there?
It's me and my wife, man. That's it. My son. So
yeah,
I guess he gets half of Employee of the Month every month. But we it's just something funny that me and my wife always joke about because it's just me and her in there, and she's always in there with me, man.
Love it.
Right by me. So anybody who's been to the shop, she sees her all the time. She's attached to my hip. She's a huge part of it. So, but she usually gets Employee of the Month more often than I do, if I'm going to be honest. So.
There you go. Let's just be fair.
Yeah,
that's awesome. Well, thanks for coming on the show, man.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Gary talked. When Gary said you guys got together and talked about this, I was super excited to have you come on, and I got a sneak peek at some of the pictures, and we'll talk about a couple things, about the shop at Fabstar Perfomance Fabrication, and then we'll get in a little bit of that race you got coming up, the Wheatland Brawl True Street Race. That's going to be awesome. A lot of good cars for that. So
yeah, I'm pretty optimistic that it ends up being a pretty cool deal. So we'll see how it goes.
Sure, see how it goes. Yeah. Good.
Yeah. Hey Ken, are you on a laptop or your cell phone?
I'm on my laptop.
Is your camera attached to the top of your screen? Can you tilt a little bit? Your Employee of the Month badge is almost
blocking me.
Yeah, it's blocking you out.
Let's try that. Is that better? I'm doing better now. So
much better. Much
perfect.
Yes, thank you.
Yep, no problem. So, what do you guys want to?
We'll start with a couple quick questions and we'll get it rolling. So. You're just a natural car guy, got into cars when you were young and that sort of thing. And
yeah, that's a great, I'm glad you brought that up. It's a good foot to step in on. So my dad, had race cars his whole life. It's just kind of in my blood, my family, all of my family members, my grandfather. So kind of a cool story is that both of my grandparents both ran moonshine, and my grandpa on my mom's side worked for Bobby Allison. Yeah.
Oh man!
Oh, you're serious?
Yeah. He did the bodies for Bobby Allison's NASCAR team.
That is awesome.
Back when Bobby Allison and the Allison brothers raced dirt cars all over North Carolina and South Carolina. So,
wow.
And then my
Bobby and Donnie.
Say that again. I'm sorry.
Bobby and was the brother Donnie?
Yeah, Bobby and
or Donnie the son.
No, Donnie's the son, I believe.
Okay.
It was and somebody probably
Davey was the son. Maybe it is Donnie.
Yeah, maybe.
That's so cool.
Awesome.
But yeah, so I just kind of had a history of, and that's actually how my mom and dad met. Was that my dad was young, and they had moved to Hardesty, Oklahoma.
Okay.
And my dad worked at a gas station in Hardesty, Oklahoma, and then ended up buying it. Oh. And he had a little hot rod pickup truck or whatever that he was messing with, and him. So my grandfather on my mom's side would always come to the gas station and brought my mom there, and then that's how they ended up meeting, and so they hit cool. Car stuff, and so, but yeah, man, it's just, and then growing up, my dad drag raced a lot at Great Bend. They did a lot of drag racing for a long time over there, and then my dad kind of grew more into the street racing stuff locally, which, you know, he's far removed from that stuff. He's kicked back and retired and hanging out now. But so, you know, on Friday nights we all met up on Main Street, and you know, Rodney, the funny story, I don't remember did you come down that October with Keith when Keith brought his car down for the rod run? It's been a long time ago.
Man, is this in the mid-90s?
Yeah, early 2000s, late 90s, early 2000s, late 90s.
Man, I might have. I've done a couple of those cruises back with my 4i back in the day.
Chris Paget, probably, if he's still in chat, he could probably point out that time frame better. My memory is not the best, but so back then though, it was a fun time. There was a lot of you know, guys would meet up, and it would be 10, 15 pretty fast cars with you know, quite a few different combos, and guys would kind of talk a little shit under their breath, and then before you knew it, you was going out to, you know, some road in Mexico and hooking them up and backing it up, you know. And so, and that was every weekend. That's how I grew up. And if we weren't at the drag strip, then we were catching hell somewhere, you know, on Main Street or something like that. So, but yeah, and so Dad comes from turning wrenches his whole life, and so just kind of naturally, what got me into the welding stuff was that my dad, and I love him to pieces, he's outside of my wife, my best friend. He can't weld worth a shit, and he'll tell you that. And so, you know, it just kind of turned into something that I did a little bit when in high school, and I took one shop class in high school and was decent at it. And so he's just kind of used me to kind of stick some stuff together for him, and then, you know, I just kind of fell in love with it, and that's what kind of attracted me into this portion of it. So, and I love it. So, but yeah, that's kind of where I got my start.
What was your shop class welding? Was it just stick or MIG and the whole mess, or what was that?
Yeah, so it depended on how good you were. We had a great shop teacher. His name was Mr. Roberts, and he was a wild guy, but he was a pipeliner, and then after he left pipelining, he went and did some offshore underwater welding on some pipelines and stuff. So he was super talented guy, super old, crotchety, but just knew his stuff. And so he was, if you picked up on things pretty good and followed directions well, then he'd invest, you know, more energy into you. And so I think I took that class. I think I had it 2 semesters or something like that in high school, and I had TIG welding. So that was, like you had to be pretty on it to get on the TIG welding stuff, and so I got that my second semester and kind of played with it, but honestly didn't use the TIG welding side of it a whole lot once I got out into the real world. And so surprisingly enough, it wasn't until I got into the pipe industry that the TIG welding stuff came back around. So
where'd you go to school at? What town was that?
Hutch. I went to Hutch.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So
Cool.
But yeah, that's kind of where the love of that kind of started. And so my dad had he has 66 Impala Super Sport. So I grew up in that car, literally, which that car, that's it. That's me and my brother. Yep, that's it.
Heck yeah.
So he had that car forever. He had that car, I think he said, since he was 17. And it had everything from air shocks and those American racing wheels with some Mickey Thompsons on there and a 327 with a 4-speed to it had a pretty big, nasty big block in it with turbo 400 and it had a 383 small block deal tunnel ram with dual 4s, and it had nitrous plates on both of them, and he used them. And that was back in the 90s on a street car. That was pretty, pretty wild stuff to see.
Yeah.
So, But yeah, man. So that car was kind of what started it all for me. And then after that car, we went to there it is, with the small block and the tunnel ram and the nitrous and the drag lights and my mom, my brother, my dad, my mom. Yep.
That's a family photo right there.
It is.
Yeah, it is. We're just missing a trailer house and I think I roll it short too, but no, man. I mean, and that's the way it was. We was always at the shop. We grew up at the shop, and my dad used to race with a guy named Butch Fry from Great Bend. He was the commentator over there for a long time. I don't know if you know him or not, but he passed away a couple years ago. I say a couple years ago. I think it's been far more than a couple, but they ran a super gas 68 tube chassis Camaro deal that Jay Edgar built the chassis in.
Yeah.
And, he was another super talented dude that kind of got me into it, watching him build that car and seeing all the cool tubes and stuff. And so, but my dad had that. And then we went to the Malibu. We started running, my dad built a 78 Malibu, and it was just about as absurd of that's the car. It's about as absurd of a car that you could really do. It was a small block with a 671 blower with 2 4s with a Richmond 5-speed 4-link. And you want to talk about a handful.
No kidding.
This was in the 90s, early 2000s. Lexan windows. The goal was to make the car absolutely as light as possible.
Yeah.
And but a 5-speed with a blower car and, no fuel injection. So it was just rev limiter all day. And, and then I started racing that car, and, we did some pretty fun stuff in that car. We won some street races with that car, some heads up street race events at Wichita. It was a fun car, but unfortunately I didn't have the fabrication skills that I have now at that time. My dad didn't either. The budget wasn't massive, and the car was it was back halved with 2x3 3/8 wall square tube.
Holy moly.
I mean, it was just whatever was at his disposal.
Yeah.
Part of the roll cage, it was ERW or something like that, but it was like 1.5 inch or 1 3/4 wall. And then instead of notching the tube, he heated it up with a torch and put it in a vise and crimped it, and then would miter cut the tubes to saddle onto other bars. So
Whoa.
yeah.
Wow.
I mean, the thing, and the car it was a 9-second car.
Mm.
And, you know, it was just a death trap. And so we retired the car and realized that my skills had kind of picked up. And so then I built my truck, which I don't know if I put any pictures, sent you any pictures of my truck or not, but
No, you didn't.
oh, so I got a 68 C10 short wide pickup deal. And it started out small block deal. It was a small block 400 deal with nitrous and took the 5-speed out of the Malibu and put it in that. And it was a fun little truck. And then later grew into more. I back halved it and 4-linked it and put a Fab 9 housing under it and all that stuff. And started doing the turbo stuff on it. And then again, my skills kind of progressed and I just wasn't happy with it. And so I cut it all up again and started over and started building a 25-2 chassis for it. And then I got older and realized I don't want to climb through all these bars in a truck door. And so it just kind of is sitting on the sidelines there, waiting for my son to get old enough to finish it up for him. And that'll be his deal. So
Okay.
we got a Mark built us a 540 for it. And
Right on.
And it's got a single turbo deal, and it'll be a pretty neat deal for him. Probably won't start out with that combo, but
Sure.
you know, so but he'll have something cool that he can start off with. So, but yeah, that's just kind of how I started out and what my involvement was and how it grew. And so luckily for me, I got to meet Gary. Throughout the course of that kind of, and it's really funny because our history really does go back a long ways. I used to bug the piss out of him, ask him questions all the time. And he was just one of those guys that never, you know, there was guys that you would ask and they would kind of wrinkle their nose and wouldn't really give you the time of day. And Gary was just never that guy. Anytime I had a question, didn't matter how stupid it was, it just never failed that he would always come through and give me an answer and explain it the best he could and really take his time to, you know, make sure that I understood what was going on. And I always felt like a nuisance, always felt bad. But he always came through, man. And so Gary really does have a lot to do with my love of the fabrication stuff. So I looked up to him. I looked up to Jake a lot. And those
Jake
guys.
Bratner.
Yep. And so
Awesome.
it was really cool to have those guys in my corner and answer questions and help me grow. So yep, I've always been pretty appreciative of that. But anyway,
you appreciate everything you said there, Ken. I mean, super appreciative of the kind words. And that's a very challenging thing to do as a welder, is to help through a phone call or text, help a welding situation, you know, and you get the information, it's this and that. So your text back and forth. It's when you can't see it or you're right there at it, man, it's very challenging to help somebody through a telephone. But I think everything you've reached out for, at least I hope on my end, is, you know, was good enough to help you out. And it's hard. It's really hard to help through a telephone,
sure.
but I think we got through the stuff, you know?
Yeah, I've figured it out. So here we are now. I've definitely grown a lot and I still got a lot to grow. And that's the cool thing about with the fabrication stuff for sure.
Well, even on, so to turn it back onto you, with your pipeline background, I had to reach out to you because we got involved in a project at work that was 1/4 inch thick, 3.5 inch tubing. We knew nothing about. So, I mean, you remember this about oh man, I've been 2 or 3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah. It kept cracking out.
Yeah, we was having X-ray trouble and nobody in our plant. They thought they knew, but nobody knew. This was way out of our wheelhouse. And man, I pulled up to our other shop that does our X-ray, and I had to go in there and grind out some cracks and repair this. And man, I sat in the parking lot and called you, and I said, "This is what we got." And you asked me some pretty specific questions. You knew your way around the pipe. And I told you what we was doing, and you said, you're doing X wrong. And you said, do this instead. And man, ever since then, we've been pretty darn solid on the X-ray with your from doing that. So I appreciate your help as well, man.
Sure. Yeah. It's the way it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
We're supposed to help people. And yeah, that brings me to a point that, kind of a chip I want to get off my shoulder, I guess, is that, and I am, anybody that really knows me, I'm really transparent. When I first opened up my shop full time, and that was kind of a funny story.
What year was that?
It's been 6 years ago. So it was 2019 is when we
Hang on, Ken. Go. Okay. You did a bunch of pipe welding, right?
Yes. Yep.
Okay. So get us through the pipe welding and what made you transition and decide I'm going to open my shop and build race cars.
Right. Yeah. Well, yeah. So pipe is what paid the money.
Yeah.
So I've welded in every industry there is at this point. I haven't done the aerospace stuff like Gary does, but like I've worked in a tool and die shop and done some aerospace stuff on that side. So in terms of code and stuff, there's like B31.1, B31.3, there's D11. I can't remember what aerospace code is, like D1.
D17.1.
Yeah. So, and then API 1104, which is petroleum and natural gas underground pipeline stuff. And so I'd worked in manufacturing, and it was repetitive. It was monotonous. I didn't learn anything. And it's one thing when you're doing small runs of stuff that you can kind of, maybe you're doing 100 parts of something that gives you a challenge. 100 parts is enough to kind of master that part. But you don't really get to grow yourself, it felt like, until the pipe world. And so I went to work for a company doing stainless pipe and Inconel pipe and duplex stuff, and just super hard pipe for salt plants and stuff. And man, that was when I really was like, this is, the stuff I had been doing all these years up to this point, that wasn't welding. This is welding. When you're dragging pipe up there and transition and fittings and hanging it in the rack and you setting up a blind 100 feet in the air, or a hooch 100 feet in the air so that you can TIG weld. And so all that happened. And then I broke out and went full time on the road welding pipeline. And that was when I was like, man, this is where the money is. And the money was great. But here's the thing, anybody that knows anything about the oil field will tell you, when it's good, it's good. But when it's bad, it's bad. And you can guarantee you about every 4 years, you're going to hit a couple of bad spots. And sometimes just all 4 years are going to be bad.
Yeah.
So, it just made it hard to be consistent. Well, I was pretty good, thankfully. And, I take a lot of pride in my craft, and I always have. And so, I stayed pretty busy. And a lot of these guys that do pipeline stuff, you don't really stay with one contractor. That's just not how it works. So after a job is done, there's always a bunch of lay down time between jobs before you go to the next facility or whatever. And we got hit by COVID. And so what happened was I was working in New Mexico at the time, and somebody would get COVID and they'd have to shut our job down per government regulations and stuff. And the companies just couldn't afford to pay all of us. And here you are, 1,000 miles away from home, paying for bills to be there, to be gone. And so it just became a point between COVID and the term coming to an end, the presidential term coming to an end. It all had an impact on all that stuff. And so I finally just said, I think I'm going to stay home for a while. And funny enough, it started out with Chris's car, Paget's wagon.
Okay.
I take that back. It started with my buddy Frank's car. And that car kind of stirred up a ruckus online. You probably remember it. It was that Grain 56 with the dual blow through, twin turbo dual blow through car. And so all that was hey, he said, I want to turbo my car. And I was getting ready to go back out on the road for another job, and I was going to be gone. And so he said, how quick do you think we can get it done? And we did that deal, that entire turbo kit. The headers were stainless works headers, but we did the wastegates and the all the hot side to the turbos and all the cold side stuff, all that. We did all that in 2 days.
Oh, wow.
And it was, I won't do it again in 2 days, I can promise you. But, and it was just something cool to be a part of and help out. And we just hung out and had a good time. And it really wasn't a business oriented thing. It was just two buddies hanging out, doing car stuff. And so I did that, and Chris was at the beginning of his wild transformation with the wagon. And I just talked to Chris. He came down to the shop a couple weeks back, and I was giving him shit about it because he says, back then I remember him saying, well, if the car just runs 10s, I'll be happy.
There you go.
Or if it runs, we're this close to 9s, and if it runs 9s, we'll be happy. And then now he's 850s. That's it. So it just it just snowballs, and they all do.
Sure.
But Chris hit me up and was like, "Hey man, you want to help me out with my car?" And I was like, "Yeah." And so I did that and did his car, and then I did the first turbo kit on it, and I did the cage in it, and I built 2 Fab 9s for it, because the first one I did, I messed up on my fixturing and it looked like a freaking banana, and it was a terrible deal. So I learned my lesson on that one, and I licked my wounds and figured out what I did wrong, and I built a big old jig and started building them, and then got that deal lined out, and he's really taking that car a long ways. I mean, to see that 4,000-pound car hanging in the front end like that is leaf springs. That's insane.
It is.
Hats off to him. But yeah, man, that was just kind of I did that car, and then people just started coming to me and asking me, "Hey man, can you cage my car? Can you do this? Can you do this?" And then before I knew it, it had just kind of steamrolled to the point that I was booked up all of a sudden.
Nice.
And I was like, I can spend time with my son. I don't have to be on the road anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a huge point for me to go, now here's the point that I kind of wanted to make, where I wanted to be transparent and get that chip off my shoulder, is that when I first started my business, it was scary. I got to provide for my son, my wife. I've still got all these bills, and I'm not making $150,000 a year pipelining anymore.
Yeah.
And so all of a sudden, that stress goes up, because chromoly and getting it here, it was a catastrophe. It was hard. I had to either go to Wichita and pick it up from Holzman's, or I had to order it in if it was a bunch of it from AED. And then getting them on a semi truck to come through a residential area and drop it off, it just was logistically a nightmare. And so, but yeah, man, it just kept snowballing and here we are. And the cars just keep getting cooler and cooler, and I'm just super grateful to, I really am, to even, and I told Gary this the other night, just to have, we talk about it all the time, but you've got Gary, you've got Keith, you've got Tim, you've got
Alan Ballou.
Yeah. I mean, in this area alone, there's so many talented guys. There really is in the Midwest. And you look at, go a little farther, you've got Vasco, you've got Blake, you've got Kaido, you've got man, I could just, we could go on for an hour with all the people that are within, from here to the Missouri side, and then from here to the Oklahoma side, the talented guys that there are. And it was difficult because you know that these guys are talented, and you know that you really have to be on your P's and Q's if you want to compete in that field, in that market against those guys. And and that was the quality of car that I wanted to get to, but you had to really lick your wounds and take, I took a lot of bumps and took a lot of hits on the chin to get there, to prove to people, because people got to trust you.
Yeah.
We're talking about some pretty fast stuff that, with wheel speed, that's just insane that, at a split second, things could go south, and before you know it, their life is in your hands. And so you can't, that's something that I've never taken for granted. And so, but, there was a couple good years of really scraping to try to figure it out, of how you can prove to the community that you're worthy of building them a product that they're willing to get in and feel safe. And so, but yeah, man, that was just kind of how the transition occurred. And I'm thankful to be in this area too, and have all those talents around me, because it drives you to be better. It's kind of a sustained accountability that makes you, it just really makes you look at everything you do under a finer microscope and say, is this good enough to be in this market with these guys that, are doing the same stuff? So that's just kind of where that's at. So, but yeah, man.
Well, congratulations to you, kicking open those doors. I'm sure it was scary coming off COVID, starting your own business,
Sure.
Having a family to raise, and look at you now. It's just fantastic. And it just seems like, especially right now, it's just, there's enough work to go around,
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah. And it took me a long time to figure that out. I got, that's what I was saying. I was kind of like a bear in the woods, thinking that this might be my last meal. And you know what I mean? And and then once you relax and figure out, hey, I'm talented. I treat people right, and I do good work, and there's a lot of people that need work done. And so once I realized that, it really did relax me and allow me to enjoy this a lot more.
Yeah.
Then I got, I've got Ryan's car in there, and two, I really can't say enough good things about Ryan. This isn't me just kissing his ass, but he's such a great customer, and we've become friends, good friends. He's a great guy. I know you guys work with him, but people are different when you're around him at work all the time. So, thankfully I get to know who he is outside of that environment, and he's just got a heart of gold. And go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no. And just when I run into him at work, he's got his phone off, showing that car off. He's so proud of that. And the work he's done is just fantastic. But if I was in his shoes, I'd be doing the same thing.
It's a cool car, man. We've
really
done some really cool stuff with that car. And it's funny. It's challenge. Originally when that car came to fruition, it was supposed to be an 850 cage drag and drive street car that was just really fast type of deal.
Sure. Just like they all start.
And here we are now, it's a 25.2 deal. I mean, but we retain the factory floor pans going back in the car. So I did all the floor bars. So all that stuff would be with the factory floor pan to the back of the driver's seat. So a factory firewall and steel roof, steel quarters. And that way that car could fit in just a big group of classes and really,
there you go.
Shine. And so it's just been a cool car, and I can't wait to see what that car does, because that guy has no quit in him. A lot of people, and I'm sure Gary's seen it, I'm sure you've seen it, but guys will come to you and you'll do all this fab work on a car, and most guys, and I always say it's that last 10% is what kills them. It's that the wiring, the plumbing, the tuning. It's just that, you know, they think, oh, the fabrication's done and like that's the bulk of it, so everything's downhill from here. And it's really a lot of times gets so much more complex once it gets to that point. And so but yeah, he just doesn't stop. I tell him what I think we need for the direction that the car's headed now, and he makes it happen every time. So awesome. We're really at the final leg of that deal. So, but anyways,
you know, talking about like, I'd want my car to just be a, you know, blank 10-second car, 9-second car. I just want to go 10s. I just want you know Paul Pattinson.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
So when I did the cage and his Firebird, I just want to go 990s. Well, that turned into an 850 car pretty quick and pretty easy when we, you know how it goes. So it's when they say that, it's like, this is going to get out of hand real quick. And it did.
And that car, and the good thing about Ryan is that he understood that as the snowball effect occurred, that the budget also changed.
Oh yeah.
But I also understood that he didn't win $1 million. And so it's really been, we've done a really good job at working with each other and being patient with each other on.
That's great.
You know, so when you're buying parts, you know, when you're dishing out 10, 15 grand and, you know, for fuel system, or $3,500 for a wing, or, you know, $7 grand for wheels and tires and, you know, all that stuff on top of trying to pay a shop bill. Yeah. That stuff is, you know, that's a lot to bankroll, man. And so, but, you know, the car, it's insane what the car's turned into. And I'm super honored that he came to me and let me have an opportunity to showcase my skills and how much they've elevated with that car, for sure. And I think that car does a good job of it.
I really excited to see it in person.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. Yep. Shouldn't be too much longer, man. So I think he just ordered I think the only thing that's left that we need for that car is the fuel injectors and the radiator. And I'm just at a point where I got to get the motor in the car and get the you know, start mocking some stuff up to kind of see what size of radiator we can get in that thing. But so that's about it, man. Other than that, cool. I think we have everything. So awesome. But anyway,
we got some pictures of Ryan's car. We got a shout out from Chris Padgett here. Chris says, my car still has the nicest cage I've seen in a Tri-5.
Nice.
It was, thanks, Chris. Yeah, that Chris knows that was, I made that cage too tight. Everybody says there's no such thing. There's such thing. Dropping that thing down and welding the top of it. And I think I bent 3 or 4 hoops. I wonder if he still has that picture. I think I bent 3 or 4 hoops on that deal before I finally got one that I was like, yep, this fits right.
Oh man,
there you go.
But yeah, anyway. But yeah, cool car.
Yeah, we got some pictures of Ryan's car.
Yes.
This is the trunk. Nice work in here.
Yeah.
Parachutes.
Yeah. Now the parachute situation has changed.
Okay.
So where the tethers are for the chutes, it got moved up way, way closer. So I'm super glad that I thought about that for a second, because that would have been a disaster with having that much load that far out. When the parachutes come out and shit whipping the car all over the place. So that got changed, but other than that, everything else is. But yeah, we did everything. I built the fuel cell in-house 100%. I built the blowdown tank, obviously all the bars. The tubs, I did those and fit those in the inner wheelhouse, which is a little different. Most guys don't fit them to the inner wheelhouse. They usually cut the inner wheelhouse out. I did that to try to help minimize some damage to the tubs with tire shake and stuff like that. But yeah, man, it's just, it's a pretty cool car. I'm pretty excited about it, man. It's going to be a neat deal for sure. There's old Dobson's Nova too.
Oh yeah.
Seen that. I was loading. It's like, that's Greg's car.
Yep. we back halved it, so it's not a ladder bar car anymore. We redid everything underneath the back of that deal. So it's a 4-link car now. So
these pretty recent pictures.
Oh no, not at all. No.
Okay.
I'm gonna say those pictures are from 4 months ago or so.
Okay.
I'll be real honest too. I'm not great at taking pictures. At the end of the day, the last thing that walks around, and Ryan will be the first to testify, it probably drives him nuts. But I'll work and I'll tell him, hey man, this is so awesome. This looks, because almost all the interior bars are in the Nova now. The front bars are in the Nova now. But yeah, so he was like, man, send me some pictures. And then I go home because I'm not sitting there and taking a bunch of pictures before I go home.
He's all waiting, for the shot.
Yeah, he's all fired up, and then she never shows up to the dance. So
yeah.
Oh man.
But yeah, it's a cool car, man, for sure. So
it's awesome. Excited.
And it's going to be a big block Chevy from Mark Brown with a big single, right?
Yep. It's got a FIS
116.
116. I think I thought Jose came out with another turbo because Ryan
122.
Yeah, I think so.
Oh man.
Yeah, because when he came out with the 122, he sent the 116 back and traded it in.
Wow.
And got the 122. Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
Double deuces.
So we got that, and we worked with Enzo over at Aeromotive, and he designed the fuel system for us because it'll have 2 fuel systems. So it's got the methanol fuel system up front, and then it's got the ethanol fuel system in the back for the street car stuff. And then I put Rockwell pins in there so that we could just pull that tank, or we could fill it up with water or whatever for ballast if we wanted to. So
okay.
So but yeah, pretty cool car, man.
Yeah, awesome. Can't wait to see it, man. I can't wait to see it. And it's a big car.
But and then we got Steve's Monte Carlo in there, which a lot of guys are pretty familiar with that car. I posted a picture recently, but I don't know if I sent anything over. But we cut the front of that car off literally and just started over. So we tube fronted that deal, and that's another one of Mark's motors. So that's Farber's car. That's the inside when we updated the cage in that deal. And that's my son.
It's your son, yeah.
Yeah. So, and he does the Rocky Mountain Race Week stuff. So that guy is just a glutton for punishment. He completely changes his car and makes it wilder every year, and then goes and does Race Week, and then that's it. But
yeah,
Chris did a great job. Recently, they updated the car. I think they talked about it a little bit. They'd switched the car over to Haltech, and so, and then Mark did some changes to the motor this time around, and then we went to NLX, the NLX Bullseye 8896s on it.
Oh yeah.
So we shaved 350 pounds off of it. So,
dang.
And it's going on small tires this time.
Oh, no kidding. Okay.
Big tires are gone, so it's
like
on the way.
10.5s or 275 radials or what?
Yep. So for Race Week, it'll be on a 315.
Okay.
But it won't be hard for us to transition that car from a 315 to a 2810.5 or a 275 for the level.
Awesome.
Nice.
So I think we hit the end of that car's growth without cutting the body off of it and completely starting over. You know what I mean? So,
sure.
But yeah, it's gonna be a cool car. So, nice. but anyway, so
we got a quick shout out.
Yep, there's a shout out from Clayton Hamby. Says Kenneth is a stand-up guy and one hell of a fabricator.
So thanks. Clayton is awesome. Clayton helped me out in the younger years, and he should be employee of the month. He would come in and help me out after he got off of his job, got off work, and he's really grown. He's a younger kid, but man, he is building an S10 right now, and he did all the work himself. He's a super good welder. He works for Superior Boiler, does a lot of pipe stuff, TIG welding stuff. I mean, he's going to be a great kid. And his little S10 that he's building right now it's an awesome truck. It really is. So yeah, no, I'm glad that he made it on here. He's a super talented kid that's going to go far.
That's
so
great. That's
Cool.
great.
But anyways,
you sent us some pictures of some welded pieces, some really nice looking welds.
oh yeah, some 4-link bars and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yep, some bars and tube ends, some brackets, some 4-link brackets. It looks like.
Yep, some tin soldier stuff.
Yep, they got really awesome stuff, man. Tin soldier guys.
God, man, and those guys are such good people. I say there's certain companies. You guys both know me well enough at this point to know that I'm not opposed to hiding what my opinion of people is. But and it can be colorful at times, but I'm really good at saying when people are good people, and those guys, Jason and those guys and Todd and all them, I mean, they're good people. They really are. Jason's awesome. And there's Blake is that way. Blake's super accessible.
Yep.
You get his parts, and you need help or anything or questions. Just super stand-up guy. Matter of fact, the last time I talked to him, he told me, now these aren't Gary Putnam welds. So take it easy, buddy. Don't be picking on me. But yeah, but yeah, man, those guys are just solid dudes. And I've really been lucky to have some of those guys in my corner too. Matt Funkhauser is another one, which he is a funny story with him, and just to kind of transition a little bit into like the race, is that I was talking to him one day about Greg's car, because Greg's car, was a square tube back half car. And so doing the 4-link update was hard. So back in the day when on the square tube stuff, they would move all the brackets and shocks and stuff would all be on the inside of the frame rail. And as technology has progressed and people's knowledge of things has progressed, and the integration of the anti-roll bar and the shock mounts and all that into the housing just gives more control over the rear suspension. And so, that took off and gained popularity. And so, we had a little bit of a challenge trying to integrate some of that stuff into his car, without just completely cutting the back of that car out. And so I was talking to Matt one day about that deal, and he said, "Hey man, I've seen that you got a race coming up or whatever." He goes, I want to put some money in on that deal." And I said, "Cool, man." And he said, "Yeah, just whatever." He said, I'll give you $500. And he said, "I want to do it for a second chance race." He said, "Let's do a second chance race."
Cool.
I said, "Cool, man." So at the race, there's no buy-in for the second chance. It's free. Okay. You just roll right into it, and it's guaranteed $500 winner for the second chance.
Nice.
And so, just everybody else I'd hit up and said, "Hey, is this something that you want to see happen? You willing to help out?" And I thought it was stand up of him that I didn't ask him. I didn't bring it up, nothing. He just said, "Hey," and he's in California. So, it's not like he is going to benefit from marketing out here a whole lot, probably, to be real honest.
Right.
It's just one of those things that he just really wanted to support the sport and make something happen. So super grateful for him. Yeah.
Ryan Sumner says, taking donations for that last 10%.
Yeah.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
Steve Farber says, cannot say enough about what Ken has done to help me get my car straightened out. Love working with them and seeing his ideas come to life.
Yeah, Steve is, man, Steve is a hard one. Anybody with a heart. There's a lot of talented people yep. That's my man right there, old Rexy laying the beads down.
There you go.
But that car has had some super talented people touch the car, but not everybody's visions lined up on the car and what the goal for the car was. And
Right.
so, there had to be some changes made for the overall goal of what the car was meant to do. And unfortunately with Steve, it was like take 2 steps forward, 10 steps backwards. And the good thing is that, we really have hit that everything's worked out now. It's no more, well, the weight's not right, or
Right.
the back half isn't right, or there's not enough cage in it, or whatever. So, but and Steve he's great, and Ryan both. Them guys are awesome because they really do just let me run with it. They don't bird dog me. They don't try to micromanage me or anything like that. They just trust my vision, and they just let me do it. And so I really can't say enough about the people that support my business, because obviously it sounds cliche, but without them, I have nothing. I don't have any of this. And so between him and Ryan and even Chris, I've done a lot of cars for Chris actually. Throughout the years. Chris has had a lot of cars, and some cool cars, some fast ones. And so, but he had that stick shift Mustang. We did some stuff on that car, and he does a lot of cars for Larry. So he's done, some cool stuff for him. And I've got to have a little bitty hand in helping out with a couple of those projects. And so, and I was glad to see him on the show too. But yeah, man. So the people that I've had the opportunity to work with, I can't say it enough of how grateful I am, between Gary and Chris and Ryan and Steve and just everybody that's came to me over the years. It truly is, man. I say it all the time. I get to wake up and build race cars. What's cooler than that?
No kidding, right?
Every day.
It's nice that the customer, you said, lets you have your own vision, and at the end of the day, that's what's going to build the best product.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, yep. So
yeah, and you said it a while back earlier. You get a lot of, a satisfaction for you getting to help out on. You talking about Frank's 56, like just being a part of the cool project. I get a lot of that too. I get a little bit of money. It's not my bread and butter. It's not my living. It's not paying my bills and my food. Mm-hmm. I get a little bit of scrap, but a lot of satisfaction is being able to be a part of these guys' cars. Like Rodney, I help him out. A bunch of other guys that I'll do a lot of little walk-in jobs. I don't have space for big jobs. This is enough to handle here.
Sure.
But just helping out guys, it's fun to be a part of their program and a part of their, just help out with their car a little bit. It's a giant piece of satisfaction. It really is.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it's artistic with welding and fabricating. I say it's, part science, part skill, and a lot of art.
I 100% agree. Right. You're exactly right. You're right.
And I do that's one thing that I really do take a lot of pride in, is that I've always wanted, when people look at my work, I want them to just undeniably say, that's Ken's. I don't want it to look like anybody else's. And so I actually have a personal rule of thumb, is that, you might run into a brick wall sometimes when you're doing something and you're trying to figure it out. Mm-hmm. And it's so easy to hop on the Google and just say twin turbo Firebird, or, big single turbo Fox body, or whatever the case may be. I actually refuse to do that, to force my brain to figure it out. And sometimes that doesn't work out. I'll be the first to admit it. There's people that have invented the wheel and it rolls really straight. So you should probably just stick with the wheel. But, it keeping you on your toes, and you just never stop growing. You really don't. You can't master this. I don't care who you are. I don't care how talented you are. You can never truly, between composite work and suspension stuff and technology, with the introduction of CNC machining being so accessible now, and computer software that allows you to scan stuff in and then make drawings, to make parts that fit it. Blake Hughes is a great example of how technology has become accessible. What that guy has done in the last 5-6 years is that cutlass that they just built.
Yeah.
That car is
yeah.
So
yeah, you could sit there and stare at that for hours.
And just the details that are everywhere. So I just try to hold myself accountable to always just trying to progress and be better, and mentally that's a challenge at times, because writer's block happens, man.
Sure.
So but anyways, so yeah, man, I'm just super grateful for this opportunity altogether. And again, I know I already said it, but super grateful to have you guys let me be on the show and just kind of tell my story a little bit. But so anyways, what's next on the chopping block?
Let's get into this race that you have on here.
So what made you decide, like, one day you're like, you know what, I'm going to put on a little promoter hat here and reach out?
He's going to say he's not a promoter.
Don't call me that. Yeah. I'm not a promoter.
However you want to say it. It all starts going 10-0s. Yeah. And then, let's put a little, True Street action together. You kind of pick this lane, which is fantastic. There's enough cars around for it. So there had to be a backstory. So I'm ready for that.
Well, obviously my history is really with street cars. And like we talked about a little bit before the show started, if I had to pick one racing that stuck around for eternity because it's my favorite, it's small tire heads up stuff. It's challenging. It's the cars make big power. It's a competitive field. It just, everything about it's awesome. It's where
they're the best looking cars
for sure, without a doubt. They don't look goofy. Steve's gonna hate me for this. I've never liked big tire cars. Our Malibu was a big tire car. All my dad's cars growing up were big tire cars. My truck was a big tire truck at one time. But they just, everything about them is just awesome. Your car is gorgeous. It's so simple, Rodney. It's just clean. That car doesn't look like it's
now that it has polished wheels. They're not dirty. They're not dirty no more.
I liked it. I liked it with the other wheels there. I'm gonna be honest.
Well, you can. That's your option. You can like it with the wheels. It's okay.
Great. Yeah, but that car's just clean, man. And like I said, you've got it worked out. You figured out. You've got a program, and you do maintenance, and you're on top of it, and you've got a routine, and so it shows because your car always goes A to B. Steve. I mean, his car pulls it off. If I might have a little shit on my nose here, but his car pulls it off. It looks good with a big tire. You can't deny it. So, but yeah, man, they really are. But with that being said, my heart has always lied with street cars. Stuff that guys can get in, they can drive it over to the gas station and get something, or meet up on Main Street and make some laps. And Chris's car, I tell Chris all the time, his car is the perfect street car. It still has a back seat, man, and he puts all his kids in there, his newborn. I mean,
that's awesome.
And that was something that he was super picky about. He was like, hey, this cage has to be tight because I'm going to put my kids in the back of this deal.
There you go.
That's why he built the dang Fox bodies.
Yeah.
So, but so street car stuff to me is, and Gary, when he was big into, like when he did I just watched this race the other day. Maybe it was you that shared it. But that race where you broke the anti-roll bar, right?
Yeah.
It was the anti-roll bar bolt came out.
Yeah, when you raced Larry Larson. Made for a cool picture, though.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah,
Got it on his wall.
We got a giant picture right up here, yeah.
But, that all that stuff at that time, back when Drag Week was kicking off and big, and, that my heart just has always been there. And, that's super expensive deal, especially now. by the time, especially if you're doing like one of the full events like Sick Week or Drag Week or Mega Week or Race Week 1.0 or 2.0, man, that's a week long of driving your drag car and staying in motels, beating the piss out of it, and then you get back and your car is wiped out. It needs refreshed, before it does anything again. And
you mentioned Drag Week. That was 2014. My car was brand new.
Yeah.
And I did that. And I ruined $10,000 worth of shit in 1 week with a brand new car.
Yeah.
That hurt. It hurt.
Plus motels. And
you could have another.
but it just, that stuff to me is cool. And I seen, and we do a majority of that stuff. If I had to say the biggest bulk of what I do in my shop, it's the streetcar stuff.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I understand streetcars really well because that's where my background is. And and I really like the engineering aspect of, the cooling system, the dual fuel systems, the making the shock survive, all that stuff, implementing and designing stuff that those cars are going to be solid, because you start seeing the unlimited guys, man, and look at it now. They keep trying to push the envelope, but how many of them are really finishing? Very few.
Very many.
So, So, but I just seen too many guys that their cars didn't have a place to call home. And it wasn't really like a detriment necessarily to my business because, again, I'm grateful we stay busy and, we've never had a hole in our schedule at all. But it still was very heartbreaking to see these cars that I'd pour my heart and soul into, these guys pour a ton of money into, and then they don't have enough car to go compete with you guys. And, Titans wasn't really a thing. Everything that happened that led to this point was within the last few years. So, Titans introducing the new bracket stuff and the little gangster stuff and all that, that's all new stuff. And that's great. It's good for cars and retention and all that stuff, but it didn't, there was just too many guys that would do all this work and then they couldn't enjoy their car, so they just sold it. And so I seen that was opening up a big hole in our community, between shops, between tracks, because the more people that sell their cars and get out of it, they're not going to be able to support a track.
Right.
They can't race. They can't go to Mel Hamilton and buy parts. They don't have anything to buy parts for.
Sure.
And so, I just felt like there was nothing for those guys that was fun, that they could do and feel like they had a chance at being competitive. And I really shouldn't even call this a true street race, to be very clear, because by all intents and purposes, True Street has kind of grown just like X275 did, where methanol, it's just basically as long as your car makes the cruise, you're good. And so, that still allowed cars to come in that were mid 4-second cars. And then it puts that budget way back up high again. And so, and it's hard. Again, I don't want to be a promoter. I feel bad for people that are promoters. I couldn't do it because Fox bodies are always going to rule the land. They're an amazing chassis that works really well with just about any combination in it. And it's really hard to cut those guys down at the knees. And so the only way that I could figure out how to do that was to make sure that you had a back seat in it and your windows rolled up and down. But outside of that, it's just, unfortunately, they're great platforms. But that's just kind of what led into me wanting to put the race on. And I reached out to some guys. I reached out to Frank, who owns Motorsports and here in Hutch, and they sell, he has a storefront, which is rare nowadays for people to have a speed shop in their town to be able to go in and get parts. But I told him what I wanted to do, and him and his son, they both have hot rods, and they're both into racing. And of course, he wanted to help out. I talked to Greg, of course. Greg, Greg, you drove the Nova for a little bit.
Yeah.
Just an avid car guy that just, he's got that white Camaro that's a street car deal. And he said, yeah, man, I want to do something with this white car, and we need something to be able to do it with. And so, I just thought there's just got to be something that we can do. And I actually started working on this event last year.
Okay.
So with previous kid management.
Okay.
The problem was obviously there was some changes there, and some things got dropped, and some promises were made, and stuff didn't actually come to fruition. But I reached out to them during that transition, and they were super accommodating, and said, hey, I showed them this is what we had planned, this is what we discussed. And they've been super supportive of wanting to help out and make this event happen. And I just think it'll be a really great track too for this, because it's in the Wichita metro area. It's in a lot of these suburb areas where it'll attract a lot of guys that don't have to go very far at all. And so, I'm just really optimistic that it'll just motivate some guys to maybe stop and think before they sell their car, and keep people interested. And so if it can do that, then it will help the racing community. And I call it the racing economy, the shops.
Yeah.
So if Jim John over here decides to keep his 68 Camaro and needs some parts, all of a sudden he goes down to Mel Hamilton and buys some fittings and whatever, it's just good for everybody. And then he keeps his car and says, oh man, Mid-America's having a race like this. Let me take my car over there. And
there you go.
So, that's the goal and the hope. And hopefully it works out. It's up to these guys to show up. And if Wichita has agreed that if the event does what we want it to do, they will continue to do it and do multiple of them a year. So,
and anybody that's been around the Kansas National Dragway in this Wichita area for a number of years will know, Jason Dodd did a True Street style deal. Yep. Keith Lopez did the same type of True Street deal. Those events went over really, really well. And this same type of deal you're doing here have been really well events, and spectators and car counts have been great for this type of event.
Yeah, I hope that's the case. I do. And, so.
Now, is there one class for this day, or is there a set of rules that we can share with the
Sure. Yeah. So I think I sent the rules over. Maybe not.
You did. Yeah.
So go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, this is the first one I grabbed. This is like just the general overlay here. Gates open at 1 p.m. for drivers. Unless you want to cover the rules first, there's a handful of that. We can get to that.
It's up to you guys. It doesn't matter to me either way, man.
The rules first, Gary. I think that's a good idea.
Wheatland Brawl True Street rules. It's an 1/8 mile heads up pro tree, 30-mile drive. It is slick prep. Cars must have mufflers, turbos, and bullet mufflers are allowed. Must have operational headlights, taillights, turn signals, etc. License plates must be mounted and visible, no obstructions during the drive. Driver and passenger window must be operational up and down. No one-piece front clips, no butt-hurt bars, no wheelie bars. Must have mirrors in compliance with DOT regulations. Factory appearing interior. That means a dash, 2 front seats, back seat if the car came with it. Front racing seats are allowed for safety. Ethanol-based fuel, race gas or pump gas only, no methanol. Fuel cells and battery relocation allowed. Bead locks are allowed. Safety equipment and chassis must meet NHRA requirements for the speed and ET, and must have factory style suspension. If car came with triangulated four-link, you must have a factory triangulated four-link. Car came with leaf springs, it has to have leaf springs, etc. Same is true for front suspension. No strut conversions. Long travel allowed as long as it keeps the factory front suspension. Coilovers are allowed on coil spring cars. Must have factory floor plans. Floor pans. Gotcha. Must have factory floor pans and firewall. Tranny tunnel allowed. Aftermarket factory bolt-on subframes allowed. And that's the end of the sheet of rules.
Yeah, for the rules. Yeah.
Nice.
So those are with any true street race controversial. So the only one that was difficult call for me to make was allowing aftermarket factory bolt-on subframes. And yes, I think Don said something.
Yeah, it says here, I got it right here. Need a horn. I'll get the word out in Topeka. So I'm assuming that's another item that you will have to have as far as all the, street legal things,
Yes. Yep. If the law requires you to have it, then you got to have it. Obviously, we're going to be driving on public roads, so we need to be able to have cars that are safe and can follow those those laws and regulations. So we can't support an event or have an event designed to go out there and break laws and lose the support of the local law enforcement community. That's the last thing we want to do. So
let's talk about that, because it said slick tire. Do you have another tire with the
yes? So the way it'll work, and that's actually on that other sheet, I believe, is that so you can drive on you got to make the drive on a DOT tire.
Okay.
But when you get back, you will have time to change tires.
Okay.
So if you want to race, so you'll drive on your regular tire, but we'll give you some time once you get back to change over, to the tire that you want to race on. And again, that's just designed for the safety aspect of it. We want people to be safe during the cruise, but we also want people to feel like their car's competitive and not, put it on a hard tire or something. There's some guys that the hard tire stuff, they've got it figured out. Brian Walden being one of them. That'd be super fast on a hard tire. I think Paget's car works pretty well on a hard tire, if I remember right. I don't know for sure. But it's still, is it still going to be a Fox body heavy program? Probably. Because again, it just goes back to, it's a great platform. Ford did a good job. They built a really cool car that works really well, and people take advantage of that, and that's okay. And so that's the only thing that motivated me to allow the aftermarket factory bolt-on subframes. So what I mean by that was, if it's Smith makes the bolt-on subframes for like the Novas and Camaros and stuff like that. And the Chevy 2 was really the one that I struggled with the most, because anybody that knows anything about a Chevy 2 and its strut towers, and its factory suspension, and it's kind of got like a factory strut, but it's kind of a coilover deal. It's just a weird deal. But if you have those in there, you can't fit a motor or any kind of power adder in those deals very easy. It's just a nightmare. So that was the best way that I personally could come up with something to try to make it as fair as possible across the board. And there's people out there with different versions of what that looks like, and that's okay too. But we did, of course, just like with anything, get some kickback on wanting methanol and wanting no back seat and wanting their ladder bar car and their 4-link car. And so, it's kind of last minute, because we're about 6 weeks out from this deal at this point, but I was able, I had some people reach out to me that wanted to help out with the event more. And,
well, Well, let's stay with this True Street just for a second. I know you're getting ready
Sure.
to say
Okay. Sure.
now, Gary switched the scenes here, so let's talk about this. Do you have the 30-mile cruise already
Yes.
mapped out?
Yep. And I can pull that up. I should have sent that over to you guys, but Clayton just sent it to me.
That's okay. That's okay.
But yeah, it's goes up through. Correct me if I'm wrong. Colwich, Bentley. I think it's a pretty standard route for this race at Kidd. But yeah, it's somewhere between 30 and 40 miles. So
okay. And then you've got to you're on the hard tire because you can't run a slick on the street.
Yep.
You switch the tires over.
Yep.
And then, so now do we have a couple qualifiers? Are we going off a ladder, a chip? What are we doing?
Chip draw. Yep.
Okay.
It'll be chip draw, and then first round losers will automatically free roll into that second chance race for a shot at $500.
So are we going straight off, or do we get a little test pass in, or are you just going straight off when we get back?
Yep. Nope. So everybody will get one test pass.
Okay.
We're gonna do one test pass. And to be honest, we had discussed adding some more classes because we don't know, but that's just the unfortunate reality of this, is that we just don't know. Right.
Sure.
50 cars could show up, 5 cars could show up. We don't know.
Right.
And so I'd rather plan for something that's controllable and not add a bunch of classes. And then we do get, a massive car count. And then all of a sudden we're trying to shuffle all these cars through the lanes and down the track. And it just becomes, a shit show, if you will. So I wanted to avoid that. So if we do add a class, it'll be the unlimited one that we've talked about a little bit. But outside of that, it's just staying with this.
Okay. Don's got a question here.
Yeah.
If you break on the drive, are you out of the competition?
Oh, yes. Yes, you are. Yep. You're not.
It depends. Does it depend on the breakage? Like a lot of these rules will say if you get passed by the chase car,
yes,
you're done.
Yeah, so with this one, it's a time frame.
Okay.
You've got 15 minutes after the chase car pulls in that your car has to be back in.
What if you just run out of gas? Can you have a chase vehicle giving you some more gas?
No.
You put it in too small of a fuel tank.
Yep.
Hey, let's go back to the tire. There's nothing on here that says you have to change the tire. What if somebody wants to drive on the slick? There's nothing that says you can't.
When you were out in the bathroom, he went through all that.
Oh man.
Yeah. So I mean, I guess maybe I'm making the mistake of thinking about common sense, but you got to adhere to DOT regulations. We're going to be driving on highways and county roads and city roads and stuff like that. If the tire is not street legal, for your safety, for the other people's safety that's out there too, you can't be driving on a slick. So
that's Gary. That's when Don asks if you need a horn and wipers and all that stuff.
Okay.
But yeah.
And also, in the past, we talked about Jason Dodd's event and Keith. Back in them days, those were quarter-mile events. This is 8th mile. What I know that I know Kidd is upgrading the timing system, and they're going to add the quarter-mile capability down the road. Is that what made you want to do the 8th mile?
I'm actually glad you asked that. It's not.
Okay.
I did that because I wanted guys that had a little less power to be able to give it a little more gear and make it a race.
Yeah.
So that was the thought process on that.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
Yeah, because you're right, Gary. Back in the day, they ran them quarter.
It was quarter-mile stuff. Yeah. Okay.
But like a guy can show up in like a big block deal with 410s and make the drive with a set of radial tires or whatever and some Pep Boy specials, and then when they get back and they can swap over to their little 2810.5 or whatever with some 410s or 456s and a little nitrous, and they can give the guy next to him a run for their money that's making more power than them.
You just made a good point I thought about. So is there a tire rule? Like,
That's what I was getting ready to ask.
Great. I was thinking,
I thought you might have covered it when I was out, watering the grass.
No, we didn't. And so,
okay.
You said slick. So is it let's talk about it.
You can run any tire.
Any tire. Okay.
Any tire. Yep. Any tire.
Tremendous tire.
Huge.
Yep.
So the left lane has a funny car tire, and the right lane has a 28-10-5, and the winner's going to win.
Yep.
Awesome. Okay.
That's awesome.
So
make the cruise.
Yeah. So, and again on that deal, and I'm glad you guys are asking me these questions. Again, that gives the guy that's got a 350 horsepower big block deal. Look, at the end of the day, I'm really hoping that spirit of, we've all heard this term thrown around loosely, the spirit of the class will prevail. I've made it very clear publicly that I'm not looking for puppy kickers to come in here and with their 450 street car and just shit on everybody. Is there somebody that might do that because that's in their character, their ethics or morals or whatever? Yeah, sure. And there's nothing I can do about that, unfortunately. There is. I could limit the tire size, but to me, that just counts out a bunch of guys that, again, Joe that's got some factory leaf spring S10 deal with a 350 small block on some nitrous that he's got a 31 10.5 tire underneath or something, slick, that runs 11s, but he can give it hell for the first 60 feet or to the 330. Sure. It just makes it for a fun event. That's the spirit of the deal. So I
totally understand that. Then let's
go ahead.
Move forward with what you were talking about too I think you have another class. And Gary, if you're done with the True Street part.
Yep. You recently posted this just the other day. Yeah. You said, who wants to see an unlimited street class added to the Wheatland Brawl event on May 31st at Kansas International Dragway? We've had a couple more sponsors reach out about adding more to the pot. Guys want methanol and back halves and Lexan windows and no back seat. How about we do a buy-in, add some guarantee on top, and let all the loud guys get in the ring and dance too? Let me hear it. Who wants to see that get added as well as a class? Share this and let's get some input. Let the people make it happen. After all, it's for you all. Here's your chance.
Yeah.
So that's this type of car right here. Yeah. I don't meet your other rules. I don't have a back seat, methanol. Yep. So this would be what I'd be after. But I've got a license plate. I've got a race car with a license plate, turn signals, and a horn. Yep. It's a race car. I mean, it really is.
Yep.
And you got good feedback from this?
I haven't. I'll be honest. I've gotten very little traction with that deal.
Oh, okay. That's surprising.
Crickets. A lot of spectators, a lot of spectator feedback of people that want to come watch the race. Obviously, they want to see some super fast cars. Yeah. And so they're hopeful and they're on board with wanting to see it. And so a majority of the feedback has been that. But, the guys that want to be loud and obnoxious and say that true street races aren't true street races without allowing methanol cars and this, that, and the other. Well, I haven't heard a peep from anybody on that front.
Man,
wow. So, but they had their chance. So we've got the money. We've allocated the resources with the track and figured out, that, hey, everybody's on board with adding another class if they're willing to make it happen. But it's I would rather see those funds go to a class where I know people are going to show up. And like I said, man, at the end of the day, it is a guarantee that it's not regulated by car count. So if two guys show up, two guys are making a pass, one guy's going home with $500 and the other guy's going home with $3,000. And that's all there is to it.
Well, hopefully between now and then, we can get some traction going to get the unlimited class numbers up too.
And that would be cool for the spectator side for sure. And it would attract some fast cars, and there is some fast stuff out there that could do it.
You bet.
And so, but but we'll see what happens.
Does the unlimited have to also do the cruise, or they?
Yes, they do. Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Absolutely. Yeah, we're here to find the street cars.
All right. Barry's got a question for you.
Yeah.
Oh, see here. Barry says, Gary, you can't be together by then. No, you're absolutely correct. I cannot.
So what?
If I could be together by then, I'd be together by tomorrow.
There you go.
What? Just to break off for just a second on that.
Sure.
What are you waiting on your car, Gary?
Time, and I don't have an engine yet. That's not a huge deal. Mark Brown is handling that. I don't even bug him about it. I don't worry about what he does. Sure. He does his thing, and he don't bug me about welding stuff. So, and I gotta do some stuff here. It's gonna go get some carbon fiber work done by Keith, and it's gonna go up and get some nose and hood paint and hatch paint done, and touch up the bad spots around the body. So it's going to be a time game. It's going to be it's just going to be a waiting game, to be honest. So, and then when I get the thing, I got some fab work to do. So when I broke off of the big block and sold that, I was stopping on the exhaust work. I got to continue that with the small block stuff. So, and you know what kind of time that stuff takes. And that's where I'm at. Yeah.
It's the planning ahead. That's what I think. Yeah. You got to think 15 steps forward. Yeah. You can't just jump in and just start building the headers, and then you put the turbo in and you go, oh shit, now I got nowhere to put in the exhaust and whatever. So
dude, that is so hard. And that stops me on progress so much is if I do this right here, what's this going to be in the way of? Like what's coming here? Am I going to have to, this is in the way. I got to cut this apart, redo this, do that. I battle that. I'm sure you do too, daily.
Yeah.
It sucks.
That's the part that's the most challenging when you do it as a business, because you can't translate. If you fail to plan ahead, you cannot translate that to the customer's pockets.
Right.
That's not their fault that you failed to look far enough ahead. So if you spend 15, 20, 30 hours building something that ultimately you have to redo because of your fuck up, excuse my friend, but
no, you're right. Your
lack of planning, that's not their fault, and you have to eat that. So that shit is the stuff that really stresses you out the most, for sure. So
when I'm trying to figure out something for somebody, and I'm on the stopwatch because I charge by the hour, if it takes me 3 hours to figure it out, well, I got to eat that because I'm not smart enough to figure it out in 15 minutes. It takes me 3 hours. So I got to eat that. I can't charge the guy 3 hours of thinking time. It's just, that's not fair.
No, if you charged people for every minute that you stared at their car trying to figure it out, it would be unobtainable.
You're right.
I'd be a billionaire, that's for sure, if I could find
no kidding.
But that's one of my best friends.
William Cannon says, I may have missed it, but does that add a separate pot for an unlimited class?
Potentially, if that class comes to fruition, we have sponsors that are willing to guarantee a separate payout for that class if it comes to fruition. But, again, I'm not going to allocate funds that I could grow the pot for this class and allocate those funds to this class.
So what are you looking for? A minimum car count in unlimited, or?
That's a good question. I guess I don't really have I wouldn't say I have a specific expectation, but we have had, I think we've had like one person that was interested from a racer perspective that I'm aware of. And maybe there was more that I missed. I don't know. But like Troy Aves, he was like, yeah, man, like I want to see it. That'd be cool. And his car might fit those rules. I don't know. But one guy is not enough for me to put in the legwork and basically give somebody, a couple of grand guaranteed just for one car. So I would just like to see more people online given feedback saying, hey, we would show up for this deal if it, existed. And then I would be okay with bringing that to fruition. So,
Okay.
Do you have a specific date in mind where that will be a class or no class where, if somebody maybe out of town wouldn't want to drive here and not show up and go, oh, we cut that off like a week ago. That's not going to be a class.
Yeah. That's a tough question that I don't know that I
Right.
can give you a pinpoint answer for at this exact moment.
Right.
Unfortunately, it's just too hard it's like an essential variable with welding that you have to account for. You know what I mean? It's one of those things in the WPS that it's got to be a parameter that exists for me to follow. And so it's just got to have some traction. And whether that comes from this show, whether that, and motivates people to share that deal more and more people get involved by knowing about it, and that creates that, and it's got to be within a realistic amount of time, because if sponsors come into this deal and I need to be able to give back to those sponsors as well. And so, there's got to be, the clock's ticking to make it happen. To be real transparent, I guess, we would have to see a big bump in interest very rapidly to make that happen.
Okay.
So, that may end up being something that just goes maybe in the future that we look at. Maybe this event does well, and then later on in the future when they do another one of these events. And two, to be clear on that, again, back to the not being a promoter thing, I'm trying to design the blueprint for this, and hopefully it works. And then it's up to Wichita from there. They own the class. It's their race moving forward. How many times they have it a year, and it's up to them to figure out, hey, this worked out, this didn't work, we need to change this, we need to change that. Whatever the case may be, it's up to them at that point. It was just me kind of putting the seed in the ground and watering it, if you will, and giving it a little sunlight, and then hopefully they can nurture it and allow it to grow in the future. So,
okay, good point. Glad you brought that up.
And you also might get a deal where, like, guys interested in the unlimited stuff, don't respond online, but then 10 of them show up race day.
That's a good question. And again, this is completely theoretical at this point. Again, let me be extremely clear, and I'll put up another post to show that, but it needs to have it just needs to have some more support before it's something that I want to try to guarantee for one or two people.
Okay.
Guys chiming in, they might be interested.
Yep, we got a couple comments here. Tayton Cheever, Tayton, you've done some work on his car.
Yeah, yep.
He says, I love the unlimited class idea myself, especially as someone who has a back half car that sees more street miles than anything. So
yeah, your car would be perfect for that, for sure.
Yeah, there's some interest in unlimited.
Yep.
So I'm going to back up here to Chris Paget. Chris Paget says, sounds like a good class for John Ketch, this unlimited. And he says, and his no back seat having ass. So there's no back seat in John's Camaro.
Yep.
So John says, I'd run unlimited if the pot was close to the same. It would save me from adding a back seat.
Now, so here's the deal. I don't know if we'll get enough traction this late in the game to match the pot. And, again, this is kind of a secondary thought. This is more of a reactionary, hey, guys are complaining that their stuff doesn't fit. Let me try to give them a home,
Right.
And that's all it is. And so I didn't ask anybody to support the event. We just had people reach out and say, hey, if there's a place for us to help out, we would do it. And so, stuff like that would be cool. And I would love to see the class happen, but it's not like this solid lined out guarantee that it's just going to happen yet.
Okay.
So, like we've got, John has some interest in it. Tayton's got some interest in it, and Troy has some interest in it. Still, for the amount of time it takes for me to gather that stuff and logistically figure out all the details on that stuff, that it's got to be for more than 3 people,
Well,
we'll see what
get a
happens.
little energy, a little traction off this, and keep the Facebook post going, and get a half a dozen or 10 people, and we'll just see where it plays out.
Yeah, and the other solution to that, if people just want to see it happen and just say, screw it, we'll just do it, and we'll just make it a thing, and if people show up, they show up, is make it completely off of car count and make it a buy-in.
Yeah, race for a pot.
Yeah. And so
you got William right here wanting to donate.
Yeah.
I'd personally donate a little to an unlimited pot from William Cannon. Yeah,
that's one of my. He grew up at the shop with me all the time when we were little bitty. That's one of my best friends. So
nice.
John has an idea also. John Ketch, he says, I'll add a back seat and call Patch It Out first round.
Chip draw. But yeah.
Oh, chip draw, right.
Yeah. But I mean, both of those guys' cars are fast.
Sure.
Yeah.
And with it being slick prep, it's anybody's race,
Right.
And that's why I did it that way. So we're not putting glue down. It's not going to be a mousetrap track. So, but
it'd be a different kind of racing.
Yeah, for sure. So,
let's roll back to like an overview of things.
Sure.
The Wheatland Brawl, gates open at 1 p.m. for the drivers.
Yes.
$100 entry fee and a $35 fee for a tech card.
Yep.
Gates open at 3 o'clock for spectators. $40 a carload or $15 per person. The drive starts at 3:30 p.m. It's a 30-mile route. You talked about that a little bit.
Yep.
To be determined, but it sounds like you have it lined out.
Yep.
Drivers meeting and chip draw to immediately follow the drive. Runner-up guaranteed to receive your entry fee back. Any additional amount is based on the car count.
Correct.
A $500 second chance Ducks race made possible by Funkhauser race cars, and no buyback fee for the second chance race. You're just automatically in the second chance, free of money.
Nice.
Yep.
Very good. Yes.
So, and now the car count will influence the runner-up payout as well. So that gate money, again, this is so the $100 entry fee. I have and I won't pretend to know exactly what that dollar amount was that we discussed 3 months ago or 4 months ago, but a percentage of the gate fee is going to go towards the runner-up once we hit X amount of cars. And I think that was 15 cars, that after 15 cars that we would take a percentage of that gate fee and it would go to the runner-up as well. So the more cars we have, the bigger the runner-up payout is, but the $3,000 to the overall winner is guaranteed no matter what. So and the
15 should be pretty easy to hit. I would think pretty easy. 15 cars.
Brother, I went to Wichita several times last year, and it was not. There was several times, but there was not.
I know what you're saying.
Cars there. So
yeah, I know what you're saying.
It's possible. It is possible. I've got your guys' comments pulled up too, and Chris just asked a good question on the second chance race only for the losers of the first round. I'm open to feedback on that. My thoughts were that we could roll that, keep that going for the spectators. So yeah, it would be the losers of the first round would just automatically start running. That way it was more action and less downtime, because spectators obviously don't want a bunch of downtime, as opposed to doing so I'm open to input on opinions on if we should do the losers of the first 2 rounds or just the first round, or because again, I'm not a promoter. I don't do this. I don't design races. I don't,
Right.
I'm just trying to put something together to make people happy. So if the group has input that influences that makes things better for everybody, I'm all for it, man.
Okay.
So
Very good. There's a thing about golf carts. You can rent golf carts. Rent an on-site golf cart for the event. This is a person named Jill at 316-219-5509 from Clear Creek Golf Car for $95 a day, delivered to and picked up from Kid for $95. Get you a golf cart.
Yep, $95. You do it anytime before the event, and then they'll deliver a bunch of golf carts out there, and you'll have a golf cart there waiting for you, and then you just park it and turn in your keys, and they'll come and pick it up.
Do you know how many they'll have available for rent?
That I don't know. That was actually something that was implemented through the track. That's the sponsor that I haven't worked with at all. I have zero, very little understanding of that whole situation. That's a track.
Right.
So, but
here's, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, any questions, any challenges, stuff like that, that's great. It just helps the event be better. So I want these questions. I want figure it out now.
This is a statement that's on your flyer. It says, if you pass inspection and are later found to have not played by the rules, you will be disqualified and your entry will not be refunded.
Correct.
Period.
Correct.
Yep.
Just have integrity, man. Spirit of the class. Don't do no weird shit. Don't try to put methanol in your car.
Right.
This one. Don't. And really, that's really what that's directed at. And that actually motivated us to get with some people and I just really don't want to have to spend the money to buy one. Obviously, you can get a methanol tester. They're pretty expensive, but I'd really want to hope that our community just has. You can smell the difference. Anybody who's smart that's been around it, you can smell it. Of course, they make the fuel additive and stuff like that to kind of try to throw it off, but at the end of the day, your nose just knows. You know what I mean? It just so. But integrity is going to be the biggest thing. I'd really like to see people just follow the rules and just not. And here's the thing. I don't have anything against methanol. You make power on it, whatever. My issue is do you guys recall that gentleman, and his name slips my mind, that it wasn't that long ago. Well, I say that. I guess it was probably within the last 10 years or so. Gary, you probably remember better than anybody, and you may have known him. He had a Fox body convertible car with a little Vortec YSI blower on it, and he had methanol injection on that car, and he got in an accident there in Wichita, and methanol burned him up. So
I don't remember.
I can't remember.
I think you asked me about that a while back, and I don't remember.
It was a long time ago, but it's safety. We all know methanol, it burns clear. You can't really see it. You can see the heat waves, but that's about it. So it was really safety oriented. I didn't want to see somebody get into a fender bender. We got a bunch of cool cars making the drive. Somebody's not paying attention because they're looking at the cars, smacks into somebody, smacks a fuel cell, and then their car catches on fire, and it's a few minutes before people realize it, and it's too late. So that was geared with safety in mind. That's it. Gotcha. But anyways, most talking I've done in a year. A lot.
And you haven't had a drink. Jeez.
Oh, yeah, no, you're doing great.
You got to keep drinking and drink.
And I think we're about ready to wrap up unless you got anything else. Gary, you got any more pictures?
Yep. He's got a list of sponsors here. Who's your sponsors helping out here?
Yeah, so I got my buddy. So here's the cool thing about all these sponsors is that they're all car guys, man. And that's what I loved the most about this. Everybody that's on this list is a car guy. My buddy Greg owns the Electric Chair Tattoo Company in Wichita. And I've known him for over 30 years. And he's into cars. He doesn't drag race, but those guys, if you're into the tattoo stuff, they really do have some talented artists over there. Obviously, I'm into the tattoo stuff. And so, but he's just got some super good guys over there, and he wanted to help out. Greg, of course, Dodson with Darlin Drilling, just avid car guy. You go into a shop, there's engines everywhere. He's got the Nova. He helps a lot of race car programs.
He does.
You know, he helps.
He's got a motor and a dragster right now.
Yeah, yep. And he's got his Camaro.
Yeah.
Which that thing, he got a fire lit under his ass and bought an F1 blower for it, and
awesome.
And top end from Steve Morris, and that deal's coming in for us to update that deal. And so, but Matt Funkhauser, of course, of Funkhauser Race Cars, which if you're a leaf spring guy, you know him. He makes some of the best leaf spring stuff around. My buddy Frank with Motorsport Specialty here in Hutch. He sells race car parts and stuff and has a storefront that you can walk in and just buy stuff. You guys know Barry Smith, which is who bought Paul's old Firebird, and got the big block nitrous steel in it. And then he's got a Chevelle as well, little nitrous big block Chevelle. But he owns Smitty's Carryout there in Kingman, and which is just a great place to eat at. And super nice guy, but again, avid car guy. And then Bill Sunaram, who owns Rita Pest Service in Kingman. He wanted to help out, and him and his son both, they've got some little True Street Fox body cars, nitrous deals. So
his son's car is my old hatchback.
Is it really? Oh, really? That's cool.
Okay.
I did not know that. That's super cool.
So it went from Joe to there.
Yep.
Right? Okay. Or Joe's son, I guess.
Right. Blake. But yeah.
Right, okay.
And
cool.
So those two, there's two cars right there. Yeah.
Awesome.
I mean, all those, everybody on that list, man. And of course, me, I've put money up for it.
Sure.
And so, and I won't, there's been people, again, that have reached out and wanted to help out, and I won't say their names just because they may not be able to put up, so I don't want to put anybody on the spot, and then it just doesn't work out. And then, but there's several people that have, want to help out as well still. And so I don't know, man, it just is an opportunity for the community to rally together to make the community better. And I really hope it works out. I really do. So
cool.
Again, I really appreciate you guys having me on and giving me a chance to air it out, and hopefully it helps.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And you've done a great job here in the background, getting all these sponsors lined up and, putting on this event. It's a lot of work, and it's going to pay off. It's going to be a great event.
So one more time before we get off here, the last thing, and then I'll give you guys your oxygen back. I really, really do have to give my wife a ton of credit. I know I talked about her in the beginning, but anybody who ever sees me with her. If you've been to the shop, you see her. She works a great job for a financial firm out of Ohio, full time. And then on top of that, she is on Fusion and on Autodesk running the CNC software and drawing parts, and she's holding stuff for me to tack. And I mean, she is a superhero. So
that's awesome.
I couldn't do any of this. She did all the flyers stuff and the rules. So I really couldn't be more grateful for everything that she does. So
I can't let this go. I need to know this, and I need your answer.
Okay.
Your son, does he have an interest in cars, race cars, welding? Where does he stand?
Absolutely yes to all of them.
Yes. Good.
So, he can already TIG weld by himself.
Nice. How old is he?
He is 9. So,
man. Wow.
He can't, I'm not saying I'm going to let him loose on the car yet, but
right.
he can fluently, he can strike up an arc, and he can put metal on there, and he loves it. He's not a fan of sparks. I don't blame him. The cutoff wheel comes out, or the grinder. He's not a big fan of that, but yeah, man, he's super interested in it. We got him a goat cart, and he loves ripping around in that thing. And we have plans to build a junior dragster for him soon.
Awesome.
Okay.
And, so absolutely, he's into it, and so that's what motivated me to put him in the truck and not let the truck just go to the wayside completely. So yeah.
So he's going to be a junior dragster racer and then transition to your truck.
Yes. Yep. And I am building the Impala. So my dad, when he retired, he gave me that car, and the motor is coming out of my truck and going in the Impala, and we're building just a nice, true street type of car. And so nothing crazy, just a little turbo big block deal, and in a boat, and just have some fun. And so, that's the stuff that makes me happy. I don't have the time or resources to be competitive in small tire. I know that. I'm willing to stay in my lane and figure out, where I'm happy, so my hat's off to you guys that do make it happen, because it's a lot of work. It's a ton of work. So, but again, man, thank you guys so much for having me on, and I'm super grateful, and just keep it up, because what you guys are doing helps everybody in the community, so it really does.
You're welcome, and we appreciate you coming on. You did a great job. It's going to be a great event. Learned a lot about you. I already knew you before. We've been out to dinner and stuff, but you just did a great job tonight.
And then I'll be out there in a few weeks to watch you guys.
Titans.
Oh yeah, Titans. Yep.
So
we'll be there supporting you too, even if we don't have a car. If I'm open that day, I'll come out.
Good. Thank you. Thank you. I'd love to see you guys out there. So,
and I think this comment from Chris was geared towards Rodney, your old car. I think Chris Paget says, "My small block Chevy swapped that car."
Oh, that's awesome.
Small block Ford stuff out of there.
Oh yeah, that car, when I had it, it was what I call a fast street car. I drove. It went 540s back when I had it. It was
she does fast back then, man.
Charger deal,
super fast.
Yeah, and so it's
a
great.
8-second car.
Yeah.
You said it was a Pro Charge deal?
Yeah.
The Clash of the Titans car.
Yeah,
8-quarter mile stuff, man.
Yeah, it was a good car. I just staying with the car for a second. I was telling Gary and Keith that I may take a run and get that car back when I'm ready.
Right.
It's one of those cars.
Yep.
So see what Brian wants to do. Yeah.
Oh, Chris says not by choice.
Yeah. Talking about the small block Chevy.
Yeah. Oh, it's funny. Good.
All right, boys. Do you guys have anything else for me?
And Ken, we knew this would be fun, and thanks a bunch for your time, and thanks to your wife for giving you to us for a couple hours tonight. And
absolutely.
So appreciate your time and all the information you provided.
Yeah. Hopefully, I didn't make myself look too stupid. And
no. Well, congratulations to you too, because you were the guy in high school that was taking the welding class that turned it into a business that everybody is supporting now. So that's just like the American dream. And now you're coming and got your family involved. You're helping the community now, with racing, giving back. So just hats off to you, bud.
Thank you very much.
Yeah,
guys.
Yeah, and you took the leap to do your own thing, and building race cars. And I love race cars. I'd like to build race cars, but there's a 0% chance that I have the cojones to leave aircraft and go build race cars. There's no way I'm going to do that. Yeah. So I'll just be honest with you. I can't. I love race cars. I can't do it.
There's days that I won't pretend that there's not days that I don't wake up and go, yeah, man, clocking in and coming home and not having to worry about anything and work. We've worked every weekend for the last 3 or 4 weeks straight. We worked today, came home, did the show. I've got the inclination to go back because we're trying to get Steve's car done for Mega Week, and that's a lot, and still have time to get it over to Chris and get it tuned and stuff. So, there's definitely days where you regret it, but then there's days that offset that and make it better. And I think opportunities like this, this may not be on national television, but I'm with a guy that I've looked up to for the last decade of my life, and looking up to you and what you've accomplished with the radio stuff, and just it really makes you reflect on growth as a person and as an individual. And you hear that adage all the time of you remember the things that you used to wish for 5 years ago that you have now.
Yeah.
And it really does put things into perspective of how much we grow, and you don't realize it.
Right.
One day you just wake up and you look back and you go, I remember when I just wanted a tubing bender, and now I've got a whole shop,
Yeah.
And so just keep your head down and keep pushing. And so
there you go.
The same thing happened with this show that you're on right now. The same thing that you just described. We just wanted to talk about keeping the heads up alive at Arc City, and it got great feedback. And here we are, a year and a half in, almost 2 years in September, and we're doing it weekly, and we're just having a good time.
Oh, I have a question for you guys real quick.
Sure.
The big 100 is coming up soon.
Oh, I've been thinking about that for a long time.
What are you guys going to do? What do you guys having? That's a milestone, man. That's a big deal. You guys stuck with it,
My calendar is right there. Wednesday, we did the show. It was number 77. If we do every week, I've already counted. It's going to push number 100 into the month of September. I've already looked at that. So it needs to be something big, and we haven't discussed it or got that far. But it needs to be somebody and something really big for number 100.
Yeah.
That's a great question, Ken. That's great. Good job.
And Ken, to piggyback on that, there's two people that are nationally known that we have come to several times, and hey, we need to get you on the show. And they're done. They've come back to us and said, yes, just tell us when. And so we haven't like pushed it just to get them.
I bet I know what one of them is. I've bet you money that I could call one of them, and his name starts with an L. And nobody gave me any information here. But I bet Larry's one of them. Am I wrong?
We already had him on the hook, and we had to bail. I forget the reason why we had to cut that off.
Yeah, he was getting ready for MPK.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so and I could see.
Don's comment's good.
Don.
That's a good one.
owner of Wright's Bacon.
That's good.
Like 3 packages in my fridge and one
plays out.
Yeah, and there's one that Rod and I have conversed about regularly, and when we the time needs to be right. We really got to have our shit together to make it an outstanding show. And I know we'll do it, but we got time. We'll get it together.
Well, I'm excited for that one. I mean, and watching the show grow and watching you guys get more comfortable, and Rodney's got some good zingers. He makes me laugh a lot more than I really ever thought he would.
Yeah. Hey,
he's got some zingers that really catch me up and make me laugh.
And I love sneaking in stuff that he don't know about to get his reaction. I do it on purpose.
Last week he said something about he had that kid on there, and he said, "When did you start racing or something?" He said, "Oh, a few years ago or something."
Since he was 15 or something, like, a couple years ago.
I laughed my ass off out loud.
Oh yeah.
So all right, well, I won't hang you guys up anymore. I appreciate it again, and if I leave, will it mess up anything that you guys have going on?
You're all good.
No, you're good.
All right.
Yeah. Ken,
all right, guys.
Congratulations.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, appreciate your time. Congratulations on Employee of the Month. Take it while you can, because you're watching that.
Yeah. All of April.
My wife will take it back pretty quick. So
all
right, guys. Well, thank you again, and I'll see you guys in a few weeks.
Sounds good.
Yes, sir. All right.
All right.
See you again. Bye.
Good.
Oh man,
Man, that's pretty cool. You know, I like I said, if I'll have to look at our schedule, but if we're open, I'm going to go down there and hang out and just support it. You know,
yeah,
and
yeah,
I'm just glad that he's doing that. You know, you know him more than I do, obviously, but just the little time I got to know him, great guy. What a great show there, and supporting that, promoting that, and you know, just hearing the story too about how, you know, he's out there making the big bucks, but he wasn't home, and you know, how many people have a story where it goes, well, COVID happened, and then fill in the blank.
Yeah,
you know, and
tons and tons.
Yeah, it's just incredible. But great pictures, great story. I'm super excited for this race, and
hope it gets good traction and good spectator and car count.
Yeah,
the racetracks need that stuff everywhere.
Definitely. Yeah. That's good stuff. Well, great job, Gary. You got a couple comments came in there at the last there by Don, I think.
Yeah. Don McGinnis says you need to get Joe Barry on. Dude, I could call Joe Barry right now and he would jump right on here. I guarantee it. Joe is such a cool dude. He's a great dude, man.
Yeah.
And John says you get Larson on, ask him about a gas drive off at Dragway 07. I heard this story. I don't remember the specifics, but it's funny. And I heard this story.
Interesting.
It involved driving off and a state trooper or a local. Oh yeah. Or I've heard this story.
County.
Yes, I've heard this story. We will get Larry sometime. We're going to work that out at some point. It's getting to be a real busy time of our racing program.
Mm-hmm.
Your racing program, not mine.
Mm-hmm. Well, and that's a good point. And we're going to bring those guys in and out as we're bouncing off of these events. And so let's talk about next week, next Sunday.
Yep.
Yes.
So nothing tomorrow night. Tomorrow is Easter. That's why we're doing this now.
Right.
The 27th. Right. The 27th will be, tell them.
27th. They're going to be prepping for MAD. Titans at 10-5. We're going to bring Larry, Al, and Gary Harper on. So we'll have 5 in the booth. It's going to be great. And a little bonus, it's my birthday.
April. Oh, no kidding.
Yep.
Okay. And it's my son Casey's birthday too.
That's right. And so I might come over that morning and get some pancakes.
Oh, that'd be a good idea. We should plan that. Have him make birthday pancakes.
Yeah.
He'll be 15. Man.
That's how old I'll be.
Okay. He'll be 15. He's all signed up for driver's ed. He's taking driver's ed in the month of June. So
oh yeah, man. Heck yeah.
Stay off the side.
Have another little hot rod in the driveway.
Well, we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Awesome.
We got room in the street since Kennedy she's made a shift.
Right.
So I got
one in, one out. Yeah, there you
go.
Yeah,
we've got room in front of the house. It won't look like a used car lot.
Sure. But so we've reached out to Al and Larry and Harper
and Gary.
Talked to them about did I miss one? Al, Larry, and Harper.
Al, Larry, Gary. That's my brother Larry, my other brother Daryl, my Daryl.
So we're going to have that show pumping up the Titans of 10-5 at MAD. And then just to let the cat out of the bag, Gary and I talked about it. And we reached out to the internet breaker. The guy that's been breaking the internet for the last 2 weeks. The week of the 4th, right, Gary? It's a Sunday. And
Sunday
we're going to recap the MAD race, Titans of 10-5. And we'll bring in the winners and stuff, but we're also going to bring in Mr. Sandlin himself. He said he'll be driving back from a 24-hour road trip or something, and wants to come on the show and just talk about small tire and why he switched and all the cool things he's done since he switched. So looking forward to that too.
Yeah, and we've had him on the show, and in that show we talked about they was in the rebuild phase after the wreck in November. We had him on like in December, so they was in the rebuilding process. Boy, a lot has changed since then. They have been super masters on the small tire, killing it. So
no,
we're gonna get a little insight on his small tire racing. He's been very successful.
Yes. Hurting feelings and cash and checks, or cash, I guess it is.
Cash and cash.
Yeah. Cool,
That's
cool.
right.
Well, bring us in one more time. Happy Easter. There you go.
My buddy Tim Alt in Amarillo says, "Happy Easter, boys! Happy Easter, Tim!
Happy Easter, everyone! Have a
you
great
need to come up here
tomorrow.
You need to come up to Arc City and race with us sometime, Tim. He's a really good bracket racer. I think he won last week. He was in a winner's circle at Amarillo Dragway. Don McGinnis says 15. Oh yeah, my son. Oh, you're telling me, dude. He's 15 already. Yeah.
Old.
He's almost as tall as me too. I think he's going to be a tall guy like Tiffany's dad. Tiffany's dad was tall and slender, and just like this guy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Doug Perry, great show, guys. Thanks, Doug. Again, Doug is here every time we do a show. Doesn't matter what day it is. Doesn't matter what day.
Mr. Consistency.
Yep. And Doug says, Happy Easter. Happy Easter to you too, Doug. And that's it.
All right.
Let's drag our partners across the screen here. To give a special thanks to our partners in 2025, Mid-America Dragway, Ultra Color Collision Repair, Mobile Recon, Mobile Detailing, Titans of 10.5, the fastest small tire series in the Midwest, coming to Mid-America Dragway in 2 weeks, Sandland Iron and Metal Auto Salvage, and Harry Street Carpet. Super huge thank you to those awesome partners hanging out with us in 2025.
Yes, sir. Couldn't do it without them.
Here's William Cannon. Says, great show. Y'all have some new viewers, and we will also be at Titans. Awesome, William Cannon. Thank you, William.
Yes, appreciate that. You won't be disappointed.
We're just over here having some fun, man. Just spreading the racing news and the gossip and telling tall tales.
Yes, keeping it live, keeping it fun.
Yep, it's a good time. Well, that's all the comments. We're all caught up there, so
all right,
we're good to go.
All right, any last thoughts, Gary?
No, man. Rod, thanks for your time. It was fun. Saturday night. We get don't wake up tomorrow and go to work. This is Saturday.
I know, right? We're one day off.
Don't set the alarm and go to work tomorrow. Get another day off.
And you had last Friday off too for Good Friday, right?
Yeah. We got off at 2:20 on Thursday. Had yesterday off. Completely messed up my weekend. I thought yesterday was Saturday. This kind of feels Saturday. This kind of feels like Sunday.
I know you're gonna come out tomorrow and be looking around and be like, man, I got a day to work on my car here. I'm all caught up.
I know. Yeah, tomorrow's like Sunday times 2.
Yeah,
I guess.
Mrs. Harper's got one real quick.
Yeah, Doug Perry says I got a long drive starting next Friday. Oh. Mrs. Harper says, hey guys, I will have sweatshirts with the new design next week. Okay. Right. I'll have to check that out.
Yep.
Good to know. All right. Everybody, thanks for hanging out and having fun. It's always a good
Happy Easter, everyone.
Happy Easter. And on Monday, when we go back to work, it'll be 70 degrees. Dang it. Crummy on the weekend, but sure, it's gonna be nice to go back to work. All right, ready, Rod?
Yes, sir.
Oh, hang on. Time out. Okay, Doug's going to Virginia and starting next Friday. Okay. All right, Doug. We'll have a safe trip.
Yep. Be safe. Safe travels.
All right, and Doug will expect you to be here Sunday. Okay. All right, Rod. You ready?
Right. Yep. Nice.
Bam.
Lay it out. Good job, Gary. Have a good evening there, bud. We'll talk to you.
Okay. Good night, Rod, and thanks a lot, and we'll see y'all later.